seeing right now. They will value improvement. And there's been proof of that in the past, particularly with Ohio State in 2014. And so you've got to weigh it all. And I do think, as I mentioned before with this committee, if they can default to the easy move, they will do it because they'll receive the least amount of criticism. And in this regard, that would put Texas over Alabama.
Yeah. BT Barry says, my first trip to Lexington this weekend, good times. Kroger Field's PA system, though, sounds like a bad 1A high school PA system. I would tell you, I lived in Lexington for a while. I, go for basketball for Rupp Arena. 2, horse racing at Keeneland. 3, the Bourbon Trail. Football was way down my list when I was in Lexington, Kentucky. We're out of time, Lugs. Have a great week, man. We'll see you on all the other platforms. You're the best.
All right, man. Great being with you, buddy.
Always. Enjoy my Mondays with him. Going to hate as the season winds down. Can't believe it's week 12, or as I like to call it, the crappy weekend of college football. Not a lot of huge, big games. Thank you to MyBookie, mybookie.ag, that promo code right there. I did the James Span again right there. Perfect point right there. MyBookie.ag, promo code next round for all the deposit bonuses. Have a great week. The next round is coming up with show number 575 at 9 a.m. Central. See you, folks.
The next round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Cart for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Live Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
There was a time you may have thought no SEC coaches would lose their job this year. Now, within 48 hours of a game, we've had two. Jimbo Fisher out yesterday at 9 a.m. Before 9 a.m. today, Zach Arnett's out. We'll get to both of those firings and the job search ahead coming up. And as Daniel says, the biggest winner this time of year is Jimmy Sexton. He is the Santa Claus of college football firings. We'll get to all that on the field first. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and the whole gang behind the glass and at the command center of our social media platform up here at Next Round Live. Like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up everywhere. Rockstar, Tyler, Forrester, Lunsford, Taylor Corn, you know them. Emily Grace McWhorter, our in-the-field reporter, on her way to Auburn right now, who got a big win. Let's start, though, with Alabama, who's rolling. And someone brought this up as the biggest takeaway for them on our Monday morning live show with Tom Luganbill. Alabama just went on the road, played a football game, and had 0 sacks. And Luganbill says it's because Milroe is starting to be quicker on his decisions. They've sort of morphed the offense in for him to either get it out quick or take 7 yards or run 5 yards or whatever, but 0 sacks for Alabama.
Yeah, 22 attempts for Milroe, and Milroe is playing like one of the 5 best quarterbacks. We talked about this in postgame after the Alabama 49-21 win over Kentucky. He's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. The game has slowed down. Tommy Rees has gotten more comfortable calling plays for Jalen Milroe. The interesting thing was on that first drive when he took the helmet to the thigh, you know, that seemed to change the entire game plan, but because of his ability to now throw the football, didn't really matter.
It's back-to-back weeks where he has set an Alabama record for quarterbacks, which when you're setting Alabama records at any position, you've done something, right? I mean, there have been some good players that have come through Alabama. First player in school history to throw for 3, run for 3 in the same game. And that is, I mean, it's just showing you the level of football he's played. Ran for 4 last week, ran for 3 this past Saturday. Threw for another 3 on top of that. He's playing quarterback now. He's not just back there as a extra running back that might throw some. He's playing quarterback, and his development from Middle Tennessee to now is remarkable. And you got to give Tommy Rees credit. You got to give Jalen Milroe credit. Both of them have done a terrific job as the season has gone.
Yeah, and I right now, I said this last week, I believe Alabama is one of the 4 best teams in college football. I saw nothing on Saturday that changed that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if they can get there with everything going on at the top. A reaction from you guys quickly. If Kyle says, well, others, I forget, it's going so fast now, but somebody said, I thought it was Kyle, that if Milroe had played like this early in the season, Alabama would be number 1 in the country right now. Maybe so.
Oh, yeah. Milroe would have played like this easier or earlier this way. I mean, we talked about this because it continued to get brought up on the broadcast. And I guess they were just bored because Alabama was crushing Kentucky. But Tessitore and Jordan Rodgers were talking about, will this get Jalen Milroe in the Heisman discussion? There's no way because everything was so uneven in September and October. But the way he's played the last 2 weeks, if he would have played like that, the first 7 weeks, yeah, he's in New York.
He's still – I saw him yesterday as low as 45-1, which, I mean, that's still a long shot right now, but it's 5th. In the Vegas odds.
Right.
I mean, it's remarkable. If I had gone back to the Texas game and I said at some point this year he's going to be 5th at Vegas odds, you'd have laughed at me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, Heismans are won in November, but you can't just have a great November and win a Heisman.
No. It's going to take – but one of the first people I heard say this, I think it was McAfee on game day when they were in Tuscaloosa for the LSU game. And they were making their end-of-game predictions. He goes, my prediction is Alabama wins this game and Jalen Milroe gets in the Heisman discussion tonight. I don't think he's in the Heisman discussion. There are too many guys in front of him that would just have to fall apart for him to get in there.
I mean, Jaden Daniels, even with 3 losses or 4 losses or whatever LSU has now, has got to be still one of the finalists.
The fact that Vegas, just in the odds, and that's unbiased, right? They're just giving you odds where they've got him. Is remarkable that he's even at that point based on where he started the year.
Yeah. And where's the leading odds? About 16-1? Is that where Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. is?
Like
somewhere around there?
Plus 250.
Yeah, Bo's very low.
Yeah.
So Bo's the leader now?
Last time, when I saw it yesterday, it could have flipped around. Bo was the leader.
It was deadlocked on Friday going into the weekend. I didn't bother to look today because we had so much on the field stuff going. But Bo Nix had a good game. Michael Penix Jr. had a good game in the Heisman conversation that is still ongoing. Alabama wins it. Here's Nick Saban, cut number 1, Rockstar, if you will. Nick Saban afterwards on going out and scoring 2 quick offensive touchdowns and then getting a defensive play to set the table for a Philadelphia special, a push of Milroe in to make it 21-0 in the first quarter.
I think they were sort of excited about the fact. A couple guys came up to me, and I always talk to them about when we play on the road. If you empty the stadium, that means you really beat the other team. So a couple guys made it. I didn't use that in this game, but they certainly got the message and said, "Hey, coach, look around." So I'm pretty proud of them the way they played today.
Yeah, and then that team is starting to really find its we'll talk to Tyler Booker in the next segment. It's starting to find its identity, and we'll go back to that Texas game. They didn't have their identity.
No.
They didn't know what they were doing offensively.
But this was the type of game Alabama fans have been craving for a long time. This is what Nick Saban teams did for the better part of a decade. It's 21-0 before you're comfortable in your seat, and the game is over.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened Saturday. You go out, you don't go 3 and out in the first possession, you don't punt from midfield on the first possession, you drive it right down and score. You squeeze on defense, you drive it right down on score, you create a turnover, you get an easy touchdown. It's 21-0, and the game is over.
Yeah, completely opposite of what you've seen earlier this year.
That's right.
I mean, 4 of 6 of the conference games coming into Saturday, they had trailed or been tied at halftime. And this was the Alabama you've been used to over the last couple of years, just completely stomping the life out of a team in the first quarter.
And in fact, and it's not that big a deal, but in fact, if McKinstry doesn't muff that punt, I don't even know what the final looks like. Like, that's the only thing that gave Kentucky any sort of life is they got a short field right there and were able to go right back out on offense. I feel like if Alabama gets the ball back right there, it's probably 28-0, and you're probably looking like 52-3 at that point.
I also feel like if Alabama played Texas again, they beat them by 14 points.
14, I said exactly that same number with Luganville today. They'd beat them by 14.
Yep.
If they played them now, the way Texas is playing now, and if they played them the way Texas was playing in week 2, Alabama would still beat them. It'd just be a little closer.
Yeah,
because Texas has regressed.
Yeah, they have. And I was going to say Texas is playing kind of like Alabama was playing in September. I mean, Texas still a good football team.
Yeah,
but they had every opportunity to lose that game Saturday night.
They're bailing some water to stay afloat right now. Rockstar cut 2. Zach says for Alabama they are rolling, but after Chattanooga this week, there's a trip to Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And that's where Terminator Milroe and Steele will be challenged by Hugh Freeze in Auburn, who all of a sudden they found their offensive identity. And it changed when Hugh Freeze walked in and said, I'm tired of doing things the other way. Now, it's been helped out by Vandy, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, but that was a dominant performance by the Auburn Tigers against Arkansas on Saturday. That Iron Bowl is just a couple of weeks away now. Here's Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I think we've handled the valleys and the climb out of the fire, as we called it, a few weeks ago, and I thought they handled it well, and we stayed engaged for the most part. I don't know that you can say that about every single member of any team, but I thought the leadership of our team demanded it enough, and now you're seeing the fruits of that. The results of it is you keep going to work, you keep believing, and you keep staying with the process, and you find yourself, now in a position to go bowling for sure, and then with 2 games left, we'll see what happens with those. But, this is the step in the right direction for our program.
Such a butt whipping that you would not have been surprised at some point from that game to right now to hear that Sam Pittman was being let go. It was that bad of a butt whipping by what was perceived to be an average Auburn team in front of the home fans.
And I thought Auburn before the season would win 7 or 8 games, and it didn't look good early on. But, against what is kind of the bad meat of the schedule, they've won 3 consecutive conference games now, and they were completely dominant. I mean, running the ball 55 times, only 21 passes, rushing for 354 yards. It was the most since that – you remember 2016 when that Auburn team popped and kind of turned around, and it was that Arkansas game that kind of sprung them out.
It was the single most surprising outcome of the weekend for me. I don't know about you guys, but –
I liked Auburn winning the game.
Oh, yeah. But
I didn't think they'd win like that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when it's again, like we just talked about with Alabama, that game is 21-0 before you can think 24-7 or 24-3, 27-3. It's over. Like, I never envisioned a scenario. I thought Auburn could go get a tough win up there. I never envisioned a scenario where that game's over at the half, and that game was over at the half. And since I know Hugh Freeze continues to talk about collaborative play calling and Monty and all these phrases he throws out. It feels like he took over the play calling about 3 weeks ago, and it feels like the offense has responded in like.
This guy can coach.
Yeah.
I mean, that's bottom line, and it's going to be scary. Look, the SEC gets better and better with Oklahoma and Texas rolling in next year. But year 2 under Hugh Freeze, I expect them to take another step forward. And if I'm an Auburn fan, I probably expect about 10 wins.
Okay, coaching changes happening everywhere. We will talk about that after I tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness. It does not get simpler than this. They saved my life a few years ago. I was way overweight. I lost 45 pounds on their program, but I went there not just for the weight loss, to save and change my blood pressure and cholesterol numbers. They can design a plan for you right now. Just go to their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. No cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. Leslie and her board certified professionals walk you through the process. And because you're a fan of the Next Round, there is no contract. There's no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is absolutely free. So no out-of-pocket money because you watch us here on the Next Round. So if you go to the website, aplanforme.com, you can set up that first consultation. Aplanforme.com, it's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. First, on the developing news part of this, Brady Hoke announcing right now that he has told his players that he is retiring at the end of the year at San Diego State. That won't rise up to a major job opening, but that's another one that's out there.
Solid job, though.
Yeah,
it's not a bad one to get. Yeah.
In the SEC, Zach Arnett is let go today, earlier this morning. One thing we talked about for a while is that his contract was basically a contract that landed somewhere between a coordinator and a head coaching job. He wasn't being paid like a normal SEC head coach, replacing the Mike Leach after his death. Zach Arnett had a very small buyout of $4 million, and it just didn't feel like the right fit, him as a head coach at Mississippi State, so they've exercised that opportunity to jump in and do the small buyout and get into the coaching carousel.
I mean, this is so quick, man. It is so quick. I cannot believe Mississippi State, who I think by and large, and this is going to sound as an insult, and it probably is, I think by and large has kind of known their spot in the SEC. They've understood it. They've appreciated the fact that a guy's not going to come in here and win 11 games right away. It's going to be a build at a place like Mississippi State, and we're going to be patient with a guy.
To your point, right now, when you look at the new realignment of the SEC, I think Mississippi State in the pecking order is 15 of 16.
Yeah, I mean, only Vandy is
fair?
worse. Yeah, I think it's entirely fair.
Yeah.
Only Vandy's worse. And there have been guys that have won there, but they have traditionally been patient with coaches to try to sort it out. And to do this in the middle, not the middle, but near the end of the first year, not even 1 year under the belt, is remarkable to me.
Did you bring up San Diego State because of Arnett?
I did not.
Okay, because he was the defensive coordinator there.
So maybe this is a mutual parting?
I don't know. If I'm San Diego State, I would take a look at him. He looked really uncomfortable this year, but it was uncomfortable circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, he was replacing a guy that was beloved throughout college football, but played a very unique is the complimentary word I'll use for Mike Leach's offense. So he doesn't coach that way, and his offensive style to complement his defense wasn't going to do that. So they had to do a transition, a 360 in the offensive world to what he was trying to do this year. And they lost their quarterback in Will Rogers. And so they were the backup quarterback for most of the year, trying to put in a new system with the old roster. Those things always take time to work. When you go from a system like Mike Leach or Johnson over at Georgia Tech to what they try to do in modern, that takes a while. And what it came down to is they had a 1 year glance, 10 games it turns out, to look and say, okay, do we want to ride this for 3 years and then fire him? Or do we want to do it now and jump in? And he bridged the gap between the death and through this football season. Now, without just, almost stepping on Mike Leach's grave, we can get rid of that coaching staff.
Well, if you're going to not be a successful coach, there are two ways you can go about this that might keep your job. Number one, you can be super folksy like Sam Pittman and everybody's like, we just got blasted, but Sam talked about drinking a cold beer. I kind of like the guy, right? You can be, and I don't have a great example of this one, but you can be over the top chewing butt all the time, right? You're up and down the sidelines raving like you care.
Will Muschamp.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very good, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you can either be Will Muschamp, like super fiery, or you could be Sam Pittman, super folksy. One of the two. Zach Arnett was in between. Like the cameras showed him, the headset was always up. He always had the arms crossed. He was just watching the game.
Looked like he was pouting.
No emotion.
Yep.
Always looked like he was pouting.
No emotion. And you can tell me as a player all you want, oh no, coach in practices, he's full of emotion. I don't ever see it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And you're losing games.
But if I was San Diego State, I would take a look.
Yeah, and man, that may be why. Maybe this was structured because he knew Brady Hoke was about to do this, and he's like, I'll make this easy for everybody.
Yeah, I'll do this 1 year,
That's
and
right.
then
You
I'll
fire
scoot.
me, I'm going to take the San Diego State job, and y'all get to start.
Yeah,
clean.
it makes a lot more sense now that you talk about Brady Hoke and that he is going to be retiring, because typically when you lose 51-10, the losing coach gets fired first, right? Isn't that the way that works?
That's normally the way it works. Yeah.
Let's get to Texas A&M after I remind you our friends at Milo's. The Milo sauce, queso topping with ground beef and grilled onions gives you the saucy fries, and the Mexi fries is queso, bacon, and jalapenos. It's all right now at Milo's. You can get those loaded fries for free if you download the Milo's mobile app and use our promo code NEXTROUND, one word, NEXTROUND. Download it today, that promo code, the Milo's app, and try the loaded fries for free. So before we get to Tyler Booker in our next segment to talk Alabama football with one of the offensive linemen who had the big win at Kentucky, Texas A&M on Sunday getting ready to pay $76 million, it looks like, after a 51-10 win, fires Jimbo Fisher. To Lance's point, they had a secret session of the regions on Thursday night to go ahead and make this decision to fire him anyway, regardless of this outcome. And I don't know if it's true or not, but there is a picture floating around that they presented. The 12th Man Foundation presented Ross Bjork at halftime with a big check of $160 million.
Like a golf tournament check?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a big presentation, if that picture is true.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, $160 million
That's amazing.
at halftime of the Mississippi State game, if that is a true picture.
Yeah, they can't run out of money, it looks like.
Yeah. So
That's true.
they're like, we're going to make this halftime presentation right here, $160 million. So tomorrow when you read that we're paying $76 million to Jimbo, you guys can do the math. We got millions left over.
That's right.
Just on this one check.
Money in the bank.
No championships there, but they got a money tree.
They got a money tree.
I'd rather have a money tree than championship.
Those oil wells are awful deep, it appears.
But LT, you've said this for a long time, longer than anybody, that if you're that rich, you've only got so many years left on earth. Why not go ahead and pull the plug and try to get somebody in who can win, right?
Yeah, and look, and people are like, oh, I bet, he's so excited about this. I never wanted the guy to lose his job. I just thought he was overrated, overhyped. I never thought he'd win a championship. I thought that they would struggle. You get the right guy in College Station, and that job and that program can become a problem.
Nobody's ever unlocked it. Somebody perhaps will one day. Nobody had ever really unlocked LSU until Nick Saban got there, and it's been a behemoth since.
Yeah.
Nobody ever unlocked Florida until, was it Charlie Pell?
Really, Steve Spurrier.
Steve Spurrier, really.
Yeah, Charlie Pell and them
He
cheated
started it, but
and got it good.
Yeah, but Spurrier unlocked Florida, and off and on, they've been a behemoth ever since.
Yeah,
I mean,
Kirby Smart has unlocked Georgia.
No doubt.
Yeah.
They had that 1 year with Vince Dooley. They were good. They were never great.
But can you imagine, I've heard a lot of people say this, and I think we talked about this a long time ago, but if you get fired and you get $76 million, it softens the blow. But imagine getting $19.2 million, which he'll get within 60 days. And then he's getting $7.2 in the mailbox annually through 2031.
It's a great. I think the first 7.2 has to be there in 120 days. So 60 days you get 19, 120 you get 7.2.
I don't think we'll see him work again.
I don't think I would.
I would.
I mean, he would fit more comfortably in a place like Starkville.
But why?
Or back to West Virginia.
Yep.
And Ross Bjork hinted that there was some wording about all of it. $19.2 million will go in, obviously. Some wording about the rest of it in the contract that details will come out later. I wonder if there is some offset. Like if he goes back to West Virginia and pays $3 million, then that check is only $4.2 million that year or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to y'all's point, why would you even work?
I know. Why? What's the motivation?
So Neil Brown's not safe now after this weekend.
I don't think so.
It goes back and forth. But if I'm a West Virginia fan, do I want Neil Brown or do I want Jimbo Fisher?
Well, now you don't have to buy Jimbo out. That's the good news.
Yep.
He's already been bought out by somebody. You don't have to buy him out if, in fact, you wanted him. So, it's one of those, if you want to hire him, you at least don't have to pay the buyout on the other side. And I do want to say this. Lance has been right about this guy from day one. I was very stubborn with Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, I was worse. I mean, the guy won a national championship.
But Lance, I mean, this goes back. This is nothing new for Lance. This goes back to when he was hired. He told us that as an average coach that will not produce at A&M the way everybody thinks.
Well, I remember Feinbaum coming on with this. I guess we were doing mornings then.
I don't know. No, I think it was actually middle of the day.
I don't know. But I remember Feinbaum coming on with us saying he will win a national championship in College Station. And I think more of that is just, hey, look, we're giving you full control. We're giving you everything you need. There were no excuses because he went in there, and what he did recruiting-wise, that equates to a championship.
Actually, I think we were actually doing Paul's time slot when Paul came
Could have been.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I would just say for what you paid versus what you got back, and I said this yesterday, I think you could make an argument it is the greatest failed hire in college football history. If you consider what you invested versus what you recouped from that investment.
45 and 25 in 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mr. B says it right there. 15 coaches lost their job last year, paid a total of $71 million in buyouts. You're paying him $76 million for one coach.
That's right.
Just financially, it's the worst disaster maybe in sports history.
All things considered, you paid $2.7 million per win.
yeah.
When you consider the buyout and everything, $2.7 million per win.
When's the last time Kirby Smart lost on the road? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
It's been 29 games since he's lost. I mean, 27 games since he's lost anywhere.
Guess what? Jimbo Fisher has lost 9 consecutive road games.
Yeah. When's the last time Jimbo's won on the road? Is a bigger question. We'll get more into that. Candidates, is there an obvious choice or 3 out there for Texas A&M? I hadn't even started to break down a list for Mississippi State. We'll get to that. More on Bama rolling, what went on with Jim Harbaugh since we left, and Michigan making a statement. And, man, we got a jam-packed show. And we'll start it off with Tyler Booker coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Harbin's. I've got a friend who has a great fence and a new backyard. I picked over that fence yesterday because he wasn't at home, and I was like, man, this looks fantastic back there. Your house looks good.
Oh man, I'm loving the new backyard. Did fire pit Friday night, did fire pit Saturday night, did fire pit last night. My man Jeremy Harmon has got it all dialed in. Very appreciative of the not only the business relationship, but also the personal relationship. Just a great dude, but he specializes in installing custom fiberglass pools, landscaping, hardscaping. Jeremy and his team, one-stop shop for your pool construction needs. They do it all, from the install to the lighting, final hardscapes around the pool and everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram at Harmons_outdoors. See it for yourself or call or text Jeremy directly, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718.
Spittin' Lugs with ESPN's Tom Luganville and Lance Taylor weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the next round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone. Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store. Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at legacycreditunion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
My friends are telling me keep an eye on Glenn Schumann, co-defensive coordinator at Georgia for the Mississippi State.
Interesting.
It'd be interesting. His name was popped open a couple of times last year. He's 33. He went to college without playing football, went to college as a student assistant from his entire time in Tuscaloosa, 2008 through 11, then was a grad assistant 11 through 14, and then ran player personnel for 1 year, and then went with Kirby to Georgia and was inside linebacker coach 16 to 18. Has been there as defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator since 2019. So that's Glenn Schumann, one name to keep an eye on. Starkville, as we get back to the games going on the field, where Alabama, how many sacks did they have this Saturday allowed?
You told me 0.
Zero sacks allowed. Oh, I knew. I love to make the big man
Tyler
smile.
Booker already smiling. He's with us now, courtesy of Craneworks and Rentalworks. The big guy says, check out the big dog. Craneworks and Rentalworks. Were you, I am assuming, already aware of that stat, right, Tyler, that you guys gave up 0 sacks at Kentucky?
Yes, sir. Definitely, I was aware of that stat. That's always the goal. That's the standard, and I'm glad we finally living up to it now. Better late than never.
You're right. Better late than never.
What was it like getting out to that quick start? This is an Alabama team that had some slow starts. 4 of 6 conference games, you guys were tied or trailing at halftime, and this game felt like it was kind of over in the first half.
Definitely. We just set out to start fast. We were scoring. We scored fast last week, and we realized that the faster we scored, the faster they're out of the game, and that's always the goal, to put up points whenever we touch the ball. And I feel like we're just carrying momentum from the past quarters of football that we played from the LSU game. We're carrying over that momentum. You know what I mean? We just have to continue to do that for however many games we have left.
So you guys go out there and you get things rolling early on. And the guy behind you, I mean, it's a combination with their 0 sacks. Some of it's the offensive line, some of it's the quarterback. They talked on the broadcast about how Tommy Rees and the coaching staff got together and they decided at some point to sort of work and change your offensive playbook. If I asked you on a degree of 0 to 100%, with 100% being totally different, how different is the playbook and scheme and approach to offense now for Alabama than when you say played Texas?
As an offensive lineman, I really don't realize what's going on as much just because of how we receive the play call. So we might get an inside zone call, and there's a whole lot of other stuff going on behind us as well. So my job is just to go block inside zone, if that may be the call. So we're not really in tune to what they're thinking upstairs. All we know is that we have to execute whatever job is being given to us, and good things will happen. And that just comes with trust.
Well, my Captain Crunch Dakota ring here says it's very different, Jim, but I'm not going to talk to you about it, and we're not going to talk about that public. Is that what you just said? I think.
Yeah, I'm getting a big red X on that TV. I talked about
it. Tyler Booker is with us, the big guy. He says, look to the big dog. Craneworks and Rental Works. They bring you Tyler Booker, Elijah McAllister, also Jalen Milroe, and Terrion Arnold with us all week long on the next round. I do want to ask you about your quarterback, Jalen Milroe. When you see him take a hit like he took, where he had to leave the game, Ty Simpson comes in for a play, and then here comes your guy back in there. How does that inspire you as a team, knowing your quarterback is hobbled, but he's out there gutting it out?
I mean, we all know Jalen's tough. He's tough as nails. You know, you see Jalen. How often do you see quarterbacks nowadays lower their shoulder against a defender, especially in the SEC? Like, you don't really see that. So I knew he'd do that. You know, I wasn't really concerned. Obviously I went over to make sure he was okay, but I knew he was going to be I knew he was fine. But ultimately, no matter who goes in, they're ready to perform and execute. Like, shout out to Ty for being ready when his name was called, you know. And then he came in towards the end of the game, and he had a really good game as well. So just being able to know that we have those guys that can plug and play, especially at that position, is really inspiring, you know.
So after these last 3 weeks, emotional games at home against Tennessee and LSU, revenge games they call them, and then on the road against, you know, a very competitive Kentucky team. Now you guys go back home 11 o'clock and you're playing the Moccasins of UT Chattanooga. I know Nick Saban would say, hey, look, this opponent, you got to treat them like everybody else. But realistically, the way you guys are playing right now, is it all about getting out there, getting a big lead again, and letting some of the younger guys get some reps and you guys getting rest up for the Iron Bowl?
Well, that's not our intention. We're not going into this game thinking like, okay, this is an easy game. We're gonna rest this game. We're going into this game like you said, Coach Saban would say, we're gonna approach this game as we would any other game and just play Alabama football. As we have gotten off to great starts and had played really good football for these past 3 weeks, there's still a lot of stuff that we can improve on. And yeah, of course we want to get out and start with a big lead, but we're definitely gonna approach this game as we have Tennessee, as we have LSU, as we have Kentucky, and as we will the Iron Bowl.
Was it a little personal for the offensive line in this game? Because your coach has history. Your O-line coach has history with Kentucky. I would imagine you guys wanted to maybe show your best self in front of his old boss, right?
We brought it up in passing it with jokes every now and then, but it was never like, oh, this is Coach Bull's old team. We gotta turn up more than we have been usually. We never made a big deal out of that. We just went out there and went to go play and dominate. You know, we know what's ahead of us, and we can't concern ourselves with things outside of what the main thing is.
Was there any celebration for being the West Division champion? It's the final one. There will never, I don't guess, there will ever be another West Division champion. The divisions are going away, so this is it. Was there any celebration about that, or is that just part of the job?
It's a part of the job. There's still a lot more to do. You know, of course, we're happy to win the West. Of course, that's a huge accomplishment, but ultimately we want to win the SEC. You know, that's our goal, and that's been the goal. So, yeah, we were happy to win the game. We're happy to win the West, but SEC is still the goal at the end of the day. The job is to finish.
Were you guys home in time Saturday night from Lexington to watch a little football?
Yeah, but I went straight to sleep. I was beat. I caught the first few minutes of the Ole Miss Georgia game.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Ole Miss got put to sleep too. Don't worry. You're not alone.
Yeah. By the way,
that's so I hear.
Yeah. By the way, that was a 6 o'clock kick, and he caught the first few minutes of that. He's telling us he's in bed at 6:30.
I find that hard to believe too.
Yeah, me too.
So you're in the sheets at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, asleep by 9 o'clock.
I mean, you can only take so much football, guys. You know, I'm in football meetings from football.
I get that, but you could have watched a movie till midnight or something, right? Just completely.
I fell asleep to a movie.
Okay. What was the movie?
The Departed.
Oh,
it's a great one.
Fantastic. You've seen it all, right? Have you seen it all?
Of course. That's my favorite movie. And my hot take is I'm taking The Departed over Goodfellas. Say what you want. I'm taking The Departed.
That's a hot take. The only thing is that final scene, I remember walking out of the theater and I'm like, this was like mass carnage when Leo is dragging down Matt Damon down the elevator. To you, who was the best character in The Departed?
Leonardo DiCaprio's character. It's just how how he had to deal with being on that side of playing both sides and having to stay alive, and then still not knowing if his identity will be saved, because Matt Damon's character ended up deleting it.
Oh yeah, he was gone off the face of the planet.
When both of them knew, that's
it was incredible.
The second half of that movie is great. It's great.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, that's a top 10 out there.
Yeah, but Goodfellas is your all-time favorite,
Goodfellas
right?
is my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, to each their own, but I feel like the more I watch The Departed, it has more rewatchability to it than Goodfellas. I think.
Do you like Goodfellas though? I mean, you're not dogging Goodfellas.
No, not by any means. Not by any means. See, my dad and I, we grew up watching all the mob movies. He watched Casino with me, Donnie Brasco. I'm a big fan of The Sopranos, so we watch all of them. So yeah, I love Goodfellas. It's definitely my number 2, but The Departed, I love The Departed.
Okay, so the best character out of those 2 movies is Tommy, Joe Pesci's character in Goodfellas. And as fiery as he gets, have you ever seen Nick Saban get more fiery than Tommy at his fieriest?
I don't want to say as fiery. Tommy killed people for no reason, but
he put a guy's head in a vice in Casino.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you and your offensive lineman next year, Tuscaloosa Mafia, would be a nice little NIL T-shirt.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Okay, here's one for you. State of Grace. I bet you've never seen it. It's an Irish mob movie. I think it's 1988-89. But Ed Harris, Gary Oldman, and Sean Penn. You need to check it out. It's very gritty, but it's a really, really good organized crime film based on Hell's Kitchen, based on true stories.
I'll definitely check that one out. Yeah. You said Irishman. Have you ever seen Kill the Irishman? That's one of my favorites, too. I forgot about that.
You're talking about The Irishman that was on Netflix, the other Scorsese?
That's a good one, but it's a movie called Kill the Irishman.
No.
It came out in the 90s or the early 2000s. I forget who's in it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I just remember that being one of my favorites.
Kill the Irishman.
It's amazing, though. You've talked this much about mob movies. You have yet to mention The Godfather, which is cinematic classic. Did you not like The Godfathers?
I liked it, but they're too long. I gotta sit down and watch it. It's been I haven't watched it that recently to be able to talk about it knowledgeably.
Yeah.
So I don't want to bring something and be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Watch 1 and 2. Don't waste your time on 3. It was a horrible. Yeah, 1 and 2 fantastic. 3 awful.
Hey,
yeah.
I didn't watch 1 until this summer. And I've heard so much about it over the years. It was the most overrated thing I've ever watched in my life.
He's crazy. Yeah. It's so good.
Because everyone talks like it's unbelievable, and it is. It's good. It's unbelievable, probably. But it was so hyped up all these years. When I watched it, I was like, it was a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. It's just really long.
It is really long. Yeah, there's no doubt it's long.
000 is a show you need to watch. I'll get you some good mob stuff. I'll have Brown text you some stuff you probably haven't seen.
Please do. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right, Tyler. Good luck against the Mocs. We'll do it again next Monday. We always appreciate the time, buddy.
Thanks. Likewise. See you guys next week.
All right, man. Take care.
By the way, you changed the C to B. It's the Mob you're playing this weekend, so go get them. Go get them.
We'll do. Have a good one.
All right, see you. Tyler with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week, just like Elijah McAllister, Terrion Arnold, and Jalen Milroe, by Craneworks and RentalWorks. Now, Tyler and Elijah, they're the big guys, right? And they say, look for that big dog, Craneworks and RentalWorks.
And our friends at Alabama Power, did you know you can set payment and usage alerts right there in the Alabama Power app through your account? All you have to do is download the app today, Apple and Android devices. Go to your app store and search Alabama Power, or go online to alabamapower.com/mobile app. alabamapower.com/mobile app, powering Alabama and the Southeast. All right, so there's a good conversation with Tyler Booker about how good Alabama's playing right now. My goodness, Georgia. Carson Beck is playing such good football.
He's a complete stud, and I'm still surprised nobody's really talking about Carson Beck. You know, you get a little bit of Brock Bowers back. He did have an impact on that game with the 3 grabs, 1 touchdown. But Georgia, just completely different world. And I do respect the fact that Lane Kiffin came on after the game and said, we're not a playoff team. I mean, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, the question was, are you disappointed with – I think we have it. Let's hear it. It's a great point, LT. It's worth hearing the bite. It's cut 6, Rockstar. Give me cut 6, Lane Kiffin afterwards, because you're right. It sums up the whole game in this soundbite. Cut 6, Rockstar. Here's Lane Kiffin afterwards.
Does it make the loss kind of tougher at all, knowing that was that second loss, and the chance to get in the playoff obviously become much tougher because of that?
No, I think you covered us. I think I'm very realistic. That was not a champion, or that was not a playoff-looking team at all that we put out there today. And so the last thing I'm worried about is that knock us out of the playoffs. We don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
No, he's right. He's right.
Yeah, I mean, look, Trey Harris had been so explosive. They limited him to two grabs, 12 yards. Jackson Dart had been really good. He played awful. I know he got hurt and ended up leaving the game. But that's that Georgia team, man. You poke them, and it's the Alabama of old. I mean, it doesn't matter how many people they lose to the NFL draft. They're just more talented than everyone.
Yeah, just when you try to make a case that, this could be a game they stub their toe in, that's when they get engaged and they're like, they go beast mode.
I had a lot of people say, man, I've just got this feeling that Ole Miss is going to win this game.
I never felt that.
I never thought that.
I thought Missouri had a better shot, and then I don't know about Tennessee now. But
I will say this, as good as Georgia is right now, I think Alabama does, the way they're playing, I think they've got a shot.
Well, I reached out to Furman yesterday because I was asked last night on the Zone on 3340. I knew Spiegel was going to ask me the question. He had already told me, what would the line be right now for Alabama, Georgia? I don't know how to do that. You're much better.
I would say Georgia 5.
Furman went 3.5. Yeah. That's where Furman put it.
I would say 5 just because I brought this up. I think it was asked last week if Brock Bowers is 100% healthy, and I would assume, I wouldn't play Brock Bowers again, I don't think.
You'd rest him against Tennessee and Georgia Tech?
He doesn't need the reps. He's an absolute animal.
I loved his attitude, and I love Kirby's answer about it when asked after the game. Were people telling him to shut it down? He's like, he'd put him out of his life if they did. That guy ain't shutting it down. I mean, what's he going to do? He ain't going to shut it down.
But with Milton and Edwards running the football, the offensive line is playing extremely well right now. You mentioned Carson Beck.
Defense didn't have their best player, their linebacker out there, and they still were so good.
And that was the thing, too. You can say what you want about Georgia going out and scoring 52 against Ole Miss. That doesn't surprise me. But holding Ole Miss to 17 points, that was impressive.
Yeah.
Alabama held them to 10?
I think that was right. 24-10, I think, was the final in that game. I don't have it in front of me.
27-10.
Yeah, I think it was 24-10.
I want to come. Yeah, a lot we got to get to, obviously, because I want to ask you guys a name about Mississippi State. But I do want to come back to a discussion at some point this week on Lane Kiffin. Because I think they're probably going to, there's a chance they're going to finish 10-2, and I just want to know where you are if you're a State.
Well, I think people are bringing up Kiffin to A&M. If I'm an A&M fan, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Let's do this when we come back. Get ready to tell us about Johnston RV, Brownie.
Right. And if you want, I've got 4 downs. It's got both of these jobs in it.
Well, let's go ahead and do 4 downs. We'll do 4 downs. We'll do the nuts and bolts of the announcement about Jimbo being fired and do our 4 downs when we come back. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at JohnstonRVCenter.com.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Recently, they visited the Forest River Expo. Now, if you're not in the RV business like Johnston RV is, you may not know what that is. It's where you go and you look at all the new floor plans. You look at all the exciting fresh inventory that is out there, and you say, this is what our people would like. Our people, I don't know if we want this. So all the stuff that they know you'll like is on the way now. So they got to make room for it. That's why they're doing the Call of Fall campaign that gives you great savings on so many different lines. They got fifth wheels discounted more than $50,000. Travel trailers starting at just $179 a month with approved credit. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
And also by our friends at Maestro Dobel Diamante, the 100% pure agave tequila. Ask for it by name. It's the best tequila out there. We've all tried it. We all love it. You should too. Aged in Balkan region, Eastern European wood barrels, which makes it a clear, crisp, robust tequila. It is Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila. Say it with me and ask for it by name. Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila. Back in a moment.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter at RockstarBHM.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. you'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live. Mention Next Round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. Hydra Live's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Clay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
This holiday season, give the gift of peace and security to your home with $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. As the weather cools down, stop mice, bed bugs, and rodents before they come in. Call 866-WAYNES-1 to gift yourself a safe and pest-free home. Sign up for any recurring service with Wayne's and save $50 off. Don't let mice and rats be uninvited guests to your holiday celebrations. Get a pest-free holiday and save $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services when you call 866-WAYNES-1.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality service and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
All right, let's continue our conversation about college football. We've hit a little on the field and a little off the field because it's one of those Mondays churning along. We'll jump into, again, the off-the-field stuff with Jimbo Fisher and the firing of Zach Arnett. So Jimbo Fisher, Zach Arnett are out. And if you're an Arnett guy, if you like him, keep in mind Brady Hoke, one of his mentors, is resigning at the end of the year. So that's a place Arnett could land as a head coach. All that is sort of moving out there. Sam Pittman's still the coach at Arkansas, though some people have been questioning whether that's going to be the case by the time the Hogs play again later this week. Before we hear from Ross Bjork on the reason he decided to fire Jimbo Fisher now, tell us about our friends at Odie's LT. Live music over the weekend. How'd it go, Rockstar? Who was the band again?
It was Will's Doug Rockstar. Rockstar lost his voice, and it's kind of sort of coming back a little stopped up. But it was a good night. We had a good time.
You lost your voice after singing?
No, during the process. I've been a little sick. I have a child that's always sick, and I got it.
Well,
and
that's becoming a chronic thing with you having shows and no voice.
Yeah, the thing is with our family, the wife gets all the stomach stuff. I get all the respiratory stuff every time. I have not gotten the stomach every time. He's probably been sick.
Yeah, poor Cord is patient zero.
I know,
it really is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just know Leighton
and
Bethany are still wiped out. It's been like 5 days for both of them.
It sucks, but he is patient zero. But the gig was fine.
The gig was fine. Okay.
Hey, but if you're looking for live music every Friday and Saturday, you can get it at Odie's Tavern. 2 great locations now, the original and Crestline. One in Homewood now at the corner of Broadway and Oxmoor. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Incredible food from Rodney Davis. He's been doing it for more than 30 years. Get in today to one of those great locations. Go see Will Haver and great staffs at Odie's Tavern, Crestline, and now Homewood.
Hey, and by the way, Monday Night Football tonight, Broncos and Bills. We're going to be at Beef O'Brady's. If you want to come hang out with us, 5 to 6, a little happy hour at Beef O'Brady's right there in the Grove in Hoover, just off I-459 near the the Hoover Met, if you know that exit. Beef O'Brady's, we're there 5 to 6 with our friends at Bud Light tonight as we get ready for another big Monday night. And a good basketball game tipping off at that time is Michigan and St. John's. First real chance to see Rick Pitino's club against a quality opponent. 5:30 on FS1 if you want to watch that one. And congratulations to our man Andy Kennedy. UAB with a big win yesterday. They beat Maryland 66-63. Not Maryland Landover or Maryland Outer Shore or Maryland Eastern Shore. It was Maryland, the Terrapins, the Terps. That's who they beat. So good win for UAB yesterday in that. All right, let's do our 4 downs, brought to you by Slice after you hear from Ross Bjork right here. This is Ross Bjork on the firing of Jimbo Fisher.
I determined at this point, and for lots of reasons, our program is stuck in neutral. We should be relevant on the national scene. Something is not clicking, something is not working, and therefore something had to give in order for Aggie football to reach our full potential. As leaders, every decision we make or every decision we don't make has consequences. Consistency in how the program operates on a daily basis impacts the confidence level of every single person in the program and thus influences performance. Based on my experience, the best programs have confidence. The program has an established identity. The program maximizes the talent. The leadership is fully integrated in the university, the athletics program, and its culture. I did not feel like we were meeting those standards of excellence and leadership.
No, he's right. He's right in everything he says.
Yeah. Stuck in neutral was a great way to start that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's what that program looks like. They have been stuck in neutral. One good year under him in the COVID year, and that was it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, though, big hire coming up for Ross Bjork.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
He's on the line here.
Yeah, but it's you expect it to be a crash and burn, easy to fire somebody. I was like, how is he going to frame having to pay this money when the record is just average? Stuck in neutral was a great way to describe it. I thought that was really good. 4 downs brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice, and we'll hit 4 downs.
4 incredible locations right there in Lakeview. The original, one in Vestavia, Montevallo, now Crestline Park. Local pizza, local ingredients from the soul pie all the way to the Bajalia Special. For more information, stop by one of the 4 locations or online, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
More surprising last 2 games, Jalen Milroe or Joshua Dobbs with the Minnesota Vikings?
I think I would go Dobbs as well as Milroe has played. The first game in Atlanta, the guy came in, didn't even know his teammates, never taken a snap with the team, didn't know the playbook. They were having to give him route combos over the headset. To do that again, I know it's the Falcons. Right. No offense, Scotty. It's the Falcons, but to do that in an NFL game against an NFL defense, I don't know how you do that. And he's done it 2 straight weeks now.
Did you see what happened yesterday when he got to the stadium? They had to show him, like, one of the security guards was like, no, it's that way.
Yeah, and that's his home stadium.
I know. Yeah. And this is he's playing NFL defenses doing that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I don't know if you guys realize that they have got the longest current win streak right now in the NFL. They've won 5 straight games.
It's a remarkable story. It really is. So I'd go Josh Dobbs as well as Milroe has done. Dobbs, what he's doing is amazing.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody thought Milroe would be this big of a player now. I mean, the last 2 games, he's accounted for 10 touchdowns.
Oh, I know.
Insane.
2 Alabama records, back-to-back weeks, Alabama records.
So I'm going to go Milroe with all due respect to Dobbs. What he is doing, degree of difficulty is greater.
Can I just say, I don't know that anybody other than Dobbs could pull this. Well, I shouldn't say anybody, but Dobbs is border. He's a very smart guy. He's an engineering mate. I mean, you'd have to be near brilliant to do what he's done.
Yeah, brilliant score literally on his wonder list.
Yeah.
Second down.
Okay, we know Zach Arnett has been let go, but if I asked you right now, how many Big 12 jobs would you take over Mississippi State?
Like if every Big 12 job is open?
Yeah, now, Texas, Oklahoma go on, but Oklahoma State?
Yes.
Iowa State?
No.
Kansas State?
Yes.
Yes. West Virginia?
I think about it. I think I'd go West Virginia. Yeah.
Texas Tech?
Yes.
No on West Virginia and Texas Tech for me.
Oh, absolutely yes on Texas Tech.
Kansas?
No.
It's tight.
Yeah, but I mean, Leipold has done something nobody's ever done there. I don't want to follow
Houston?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You guys are crazy.
Oh, my God.
You guys are crazy.
It's 10 times better than the
SEC.
It's the worst. It's the next to the last job.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The Big 12 is going to have an
SEC.
automatic bid.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me, would you want a average college job or an NFL job? That's what you're talking about here. You're talking about average college football in the Big 12. Average. After this year.
Which one's the NFL
average.
job?
Huh?
Which one's the NFL job?
In the SEC. It could be the worst NFL job, but it's an NFL job. That's what Mississippi State is. It's the NFL of college football.
Yeah.
They're in the SEC.
Like
They're in the
all of
SEC.
these that I've named can win a Big 12.
And starting next year, you will see how irrelevant the Big 12 is.
Well, Mississippi State's irrelevant.
Yeah,
no, they're going to be in the Premier League, SEC and
getting
Big Ten.
beat
SEC
to
and
death.
Big Ten.
They get drilled every week.
Maybe.
But I'm just saying, if you're any of these other jobs, you've got a shot at winning
the Big 12. If you
the
want
Big
to
12.
put a big P on your shirt and run and play in the junior leagues, go do that. Or do you want to play with the big boys in the Big Ten or the SEC?
Well, I'm just saying better jobs. Houston, I've got an opportunity to get to a college football playoff.
Yeah. And then get beat. And then get beat.
So I get beat by 59 at Arkansas.
So in basketball, do you want to be in a one big league and make it to that, see your name on a bracket and get beat every year in the first round with no chance to advance?
The only opportunity Mississippi State will be playing for every year is bowl eligibility, and that's it.
You don't know that. Not if you do a great job.
Well, I do know if you do a very good job in the Big 12, you've got a very good chance of getting to a college football playoff.
You guys are about to see how irrelevant everything else is about to be other than the Big Ten and the SEC. Okay. Irrelevant.
I'm just saying Baylor's a better job.
Yes.
BYU's a better job.
Yes.
UCF's a better job.
Yes.
You can think
I think Cincinnati's a better job.
You can think that.
Close.
Yeah, it's close.
Third down.
Speaking of better jobs, now that A&M is open, if I asked you the New England Patriots or Texas A&M?
Oh, A&M. A&M. Yeah, A&M. The Patriots roster is a mess. It is going to take several drafts to turn that over, and I don't know that I get several drafts to do it. I can flip an A&M roster. A&M roster, first of all, is not bad. Let's don't pretend like you're taking over a bad roster. It's a pretty good roster, and I can flip what I need to flip overnight.
It's two different sports.
A&M's easy.
Two different sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still a head coach job.
We call it football, but it's two different sports. Either I'm an NFL coach or I'm a college coach. I don't think you're both.
Okay, well,
and we're seeing great
job.
We're seeing great college coaches who suck in the NFL and NFL coaches who suck at college. So there's two different sports. I'll start with that.
Okay, but how about this? Pete Carroll can do it at both. So if Pete Carroll had the opportunity to either take the Texas A&M job or the New England Patriots.
In his prime.
Yep.
He had a choice, and he took the New England Patriots job the first time and sucked at it and eventually went to USC.
Yeah, but there was college football was not even close to the NFL then as far as pay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Pay is close, but I would still take the NFL job.
Oh, I would take A&M.
No, there's no way I'd take the
And
Patriots
A&M's
job
got
over
so much upside just because once you win a championship,
You're a
if you win a championship in New England,
If I win a championship at A&M, I expect it to be Kyle Brown Stadium, if not Brown Kyle Stadium or Field or whatever.
Yeah, by the way, A&M, you can go find your quarterback.
I don't even know who Kyle is.
Yeah.
Maybe they take his name off and just put my name up there.
You can go find your quarterback, but so can 30 other schools. And Texas A&M's been only people recruiting better than them has been Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, and they've still been losing.
Okay, but I would feel better going out and getting one of these 30 quarterbacks than what I've got with Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi.
It is. It's much more difficult in the NFL. Much more difficult. But I'm up for the challenge.
Fourth down.
Ryan Gosling turned 44 yesterday. Better Ryan career, Seacrest or Gosling?
Seacrest.
I'm going to go Seacrest here.
Yep.
Guy owns everything.
Yeah, he owns half of entertainment, and he himself has been a star, too. I'd go Seacrest,
Yeah, I would go Seacrest. I'd rather be Ryan Gosling because he's printing money, too.
I doubt either one of them's a crappy. Although I'll give Seacrest credit. I don't know when that dude sleeps, man. He works all the time.
Works his butt off, enjoys his job. But I would say net worth, Seacrest doubles Ryan Gosling. Is that fair?
Yeah, I can believe that.
I don't know how many
triple?
producing credits. I mean, I think Seacrest is probably worth
Quadruple?
$500 million.
I'll keep going up on the scale here.
Yeah, I would think that he's probably worth 5 times what Ryan Gosling.
$450 for Seacrest.
And I bet Ryan Gosling's probably $100 million.
That's it. That's $500 million.
I know, but the guy I guess he's bought everything, so he's been spending some of that money.
Think about from where he was 20 plus years ago, hosting First American Idol, probably making $500,000 for that.
I got Gosling at $70 million, so he's lapping him in net worth. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, because of what he's bought, he'll be a billionaire. Seacrest will be a billionaire at some point.
Yeah.
I don't disagree at all with that. Yeah.
Because some of that is money he's spent out.
Yeah, he's halfway there.
Yeah. It's a great point. That's Four Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice. We appreciate them so much. And also by our friends at Redmont Vodka. When it's time to raise a glass to friendship or maybe to saying goodbye to coworkers in the SEC, as you take your $76 million, give a toast with our friends at Redmont.
It was so funny. I went to my sister-in-law. She had a surprise birthday brunch yesterday. So we're at this local restaurant, and I see one of my brother Cameron's friends comes up, and I was like, what's the plan today? And he was like, I don't know. He's like, Cameron told everybody to get Ubers because it's going to get a little wild on a Sunday. I was like, I got too much to do. I can't do it. And he's like, I've got to host Friendsgiving tonight. He was like, so I got to go low key. The bartender came over. What can I get you? And he goes, let me get a mimosa, and can we add a vodka shot to it?
That's low key.
Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? Of course, it was Redmont Vodka, my point of the story, but I've never seen that before. But locally owned and operated, ask for it by name if the bar or restaurant doesn't have it. Tell them to get it. 8 times distilled. It's gluten-free. Charles Barkley, one of the great faces behind it. Fantastic product. Available in 22 states. It is Redmont Vodka.
Tyler Watts and Jim Dunaway on All Things Alabama. Watch Talk of Champions at Rollside Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Hi, this is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. You're not average, and the New Balance Birmingham store has the shoes and apparel to perfectly match your unaverage self. If we were all shaped the same and had the same level of fitness, and if we all walked and ran exactly alike, well, then I guess an average shoe store selling average shoes would be just fine. But you deserve better. At the New Balance Birmingham store, our specialists will match you with a custom pair of New Balance shoes that fit you perfectly. Come see us at the New Balance Birmingham store. Your feet will thank you.
Thanksgiving is here, and let the New York Butcher Shop be the place to get all of your holiday meal items. Their premium turkeys are fresh, free-range, and hormone-free. The New York Butcher Shop also has a wide selection of chef-prepared side items to help save you time in the kitchen. Pick up a bottle of wine, and your meal will be complete. Turkeys are selling fast, so place your order today. 2 locations to serve you, in Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hey, as we start this hour, let me tell you about a couple of things that if you use the promo code TNR20 on, you get 20% off. It's the holiday season coming up.
It is
right?
the holiday season.
Holiday season coming up. One of them is the a wonderful rowback that our boy has on today. The hoodie. They got great pants that I think you wore with your daughter's family night. You had a pair of the rowback pants on.
Quarter zips are fantastic. Golf shirts. They got the crew neck sweatshirts. They're phenomenal.
So rowback.com. Promo code TNR20 gets you 20% off your first purchase there. There's the rowback.com information right here above us. Promo code TNR20. 20% off right there. And also TNR20 with the holiday season for the coffee lover that you have in your family. Maybe it's you. You go to whoiscoffee.com, and we've got a link. If you just simply go to nextround.store, and order some coffee there, use the promo code TNR20 there, TNR20, and you get 20% off of your coffee order as well. So TNR20 for both rowback.com and for whoiscoffee.com. Our next round blend is the best coffee I've ever tasted, bar none. And you can get it with 20% off for somebody under the tree right there. Promo code TNR20, TNR20. All right. Zach Arnett fired earlier today, according to reports from Mississippi State. Jimbo Fisher officially gone from Texas A&M yesterday. Brady Hoke is stepping down at San Diego State, and the coaching carousel is churning on and on. We'll get back on the field now with the biggest game and more coaching controversy right after LT tells us about our friends at Hemphill as we get to the best and worst of the weekend, brought to you by our friends at Hemphill.
I love this past weekend with the fall weather, and fall weather is here. You need to get that fall tune-up. You can get it for $69 when you call our friends at Hemphill. Mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure that unit is ready to keep up with this changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Hemphill Services. Hard to stop a train. Do it now. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Okay, my best of the weekend was the post-game interview from Sharon Moore, the acting offensive coordinator.
I knew you would love it.
We can't show it to you because it was on Fox and they own the rights to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you hear what he says about his emotional interview.
Yeah, he could have got away with this on our platform.
That's right. He had 2 Fs, 1 S's, and 0 L's in that rant. No losses. But 2 Fs, 1 S's that all snuck through the old window of the FCC at Fox. When they replayed it throughout the day on every platform, they were beeped out. Michigan wins. They beat Penn State. They did it physically. We'll talk more about the game on the field after you hear from Sharon Moore about his emotions of winning that game.
Sharon, kind of the end of the game, too. I mean, was that a release for you? Just because, I mean, obviously you were emotional during the game, but did it all kind of come out?
Yeah, I think it was built up. Just thinking about our players and how hard they've worked through all this craziness and all the situations that's going on. Put it back of how hard they have worked and the realization of that coming to fruition and watching it come to fruition against a great football team. I mean, that football team is really good, defensively, offensively, special teams, and in all 3 phases. They're as elite as they come. So for us to come in this environment and win was huge. And then I just think about Coach, man. Love that man with all my heart, and he's just such a great person, great human, great coach, and I just wanted to do it for him.
I thought they had executed Harbaugh for a minute, the way the guy was acting in the postgame.
They did have the Michigan versus everybody black T-shirts ready to go.
I think Penn State is good, but that's where Penn State is. Penn State's good.
I was going to question what he said there. I love his love for Harbaugh, and I loved what the Michigan players did in that game. How good is Penn State, though? It will be a question we'll probably ask forever and ever as long as James Franklin is there.
They're good enough to beat a bunch of teams that aren't great.
Well, I'll tell you this. Penn State, to me, is Missouri.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. So if Alabama or Georgia rolled into Columbia and won the game by close to double digits, you'd be like, all right, you take it.
Sense. Yeah.
It's not a great win, but they did what they had to do. I mean, to run the football 32 consecutive times.
I mean, that's a joke.
I mean, J.J. McCarthy did not have to throw the football in the second half.
Yeah, and that tells me
he chose not to.
But that tells me how good Penn State is, that I can go in and not throw a pass in the second half and beat them. Penn State's not great.
But I think it can tell you how good Michigan is, too.
I don't know that Michigan's that great. I think
this is perfect for Michigan because I think a lot of people are saying that today.
Okay, well, let's get a game where J.J. McCarthy has to throw it more than 8 times, and let's see how good they are.
All 8 in the first half, by the way.
The one good team they've played all year, he was able to throw the ball 8 times, and they won the football game.
Didn't have to, though.
Yeah,
I know, but let's see when he has to, how good they are.
That was perceived to be Penn State's best thing, defense and a defense against the run.
Yeah.
And so they went in and said, okay, if that's your best thing, Jim Harbaugh, it's a tribute to him. He loves to run the football between the tackles. I tell you what, we're going to do it 32 straight times, and we're going to not throw a forward pass in this one forward pass that ended up being an interference callback. Other than that, we're just going to run it down your throat. We're going to take your manhood, and this is a tip of the cap to Jim Harbaugh. That's what it felt like.
I'll tell you what, you won't be able to do that in the college football playoffs, and we'll see. Maybe they're able to win the other way, but you will not be able to do that in the college football playoffs in advance.
I agree with that. You're not going to be able to do it against Ohio State. So
no, I don't think so. And that's
I think
when
Ohio State, watching them again this past week against Michigan State's horrible, but Ohio State's a good team.
James Franklin.
They got a quarterback problem, dude.
Ohio State? Yeah, I don't trust him entirely.
I got a quarterback problem.
I don't trust
Everybody
Kyle McCord.
said that about Jalen Milroe a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but Milroe's getting better. I'm not sure Kyle McCord is.
I think McCord played. I thought he played pretty well. We laid the 31.5 with Ohio State, so I watched a lot of that game.
Against Michigan State.
I know.
It's like doing it against Mississippi State in this conference. I want to talk about James Franklin. Can we talk about James Franklin for a minute?
Yeah,
I've said this forever too, but
they keep giving him contracts.
Listen, I've been with you on this one now. Yeah. This is not me and you on Jimbo Fisher. I've been with you on this one. This guy is such an average football coach that talks a good game and is a good face for his program, so people think of him differently.
He coached his team out of this game.
What? Okay.
You chase points in the second quarter.
Yeah, first of all, you're chasing points in the second quarter. Do not get that. That's number one. But then, not that you were going to get back in it.
Did you hear his explanation?
What?
But he's like, well, we knew points were going to be at the premium.
Yeah. But the guy
that's
was
why
asking
you take the one.
I know, exactly.
You take the 1 point. Every point is valuable.
But he answered that question because the guy was asking him about the second 2-point conversion.
That was so dumb.
What are you doing?
We talked about this in postgame. I don't care what the analytics say.
Well, the analytics don't support that one.
Well, I had never seen that before. Like, you make sure you cut it to a one-possession game where you know exactly 100%. What is in front of you. When you went for it and didn't get it, that game was over.
Yeah.
Because then you had to score 2 more times.
Like, I've seen the analytics where you go for 2 to leave it on 8. I've seen that. I'm still not crazy about it, but I get the analytics people. There's not an analytic out there that says go for 2 and leave it on 9.
That's right.
Which is what he did. He left it on 9. I do not, and he was asked about it post-game. That was when he said that, and the reporter clapped back to him and was like, James, you did not answer my question. I answered your question. He's like, I was asking about the second one. I answered your question. He goes, you didn't answer my question. He did not want to answer for it. He got lost right there. He was lost like he is in every single big game. That guy cannot win big games.
Yeah, we've got a large enough sample size that he will never win a championship.
Nope, that guy can't win the big games. He can't. And hey, by the way,
4-12 against his rivals, and that's when some Michigan teams have been bad. He's 4-12 against his rivals.
Yeah, 4-12 against his rivals, and that conference is only getting tougher.
Yeah.
That conference is not getting any easier. You're bringing Oregon in. You're bringing Washington in. You're bringing USC in. That's just more good teams for him to lose to. I fear for Penn State them sliding to the middle of the Big Ten rather than being near the top of the Big Ten
100%.
with James Franklin at the helm.
100% on that one. But Michigan gets the win. That's what they needed to do. Now with the Harbaugh story, I'll get some thoughts on that right after you tell us about Bromberg's LT.
Yeah, Bromberg, since 1836, family-owned and operated. They are your diamond specialists. Make sure you get in if you're thinking about popping the question this holiday season. 2 great locations from our friends at Bromberg's, Mountain Brook and the Summit. You can always shop online, see the array of different gifts at brombergs.com. Nothing like giving or getting that silver box from our friends at Bromberg's.
Listen, this cheating thing is a big deal to me. But if you're going to suspend their head coach, you can't let him practice. You can't let him coach during the week. I mean, how are you penalizing him at that point? And if it is rising to the level that you think somebody needs to be suspended, then maybe it should be more severe than suspending the head coach. Maybe there should be a postseason ban or something. If not, let's just let this thing play out until you have time to take this thing to a full evaluation instead of just – they're sort of half-assed doing this.
Yeah, that's what I've said the whole time. Like, I just don't know how you can jump this quickly and lay down the suspension.
And what is amazing is that it's not a middle-of-the-pack team. It's not an Indiana or an Illinois. It's a brand. I mean, if you tell me who swings the biggest stick in the Big Ten, it's either Michigan or Ohio State. And in my head, I've always thought it was Michigan, then Ohio State.
Yeah, it's
or
one
at
or
least
two.
Even.
Yeah.
So if you're Tony Petitti, and you have now gone to war with one of the 2 biggest brands in your league, who is your boss technically, what is the life expectancy of you at your job the next time they've got the opportunity to not renew your contract?
Well, I think he knew, though, it was either side with one of the two power brokers or side with the 13 other schools. I think that's what it boiled down to him. I don't think there were good choices for him.
So it was a business decision.
I think it was a business decision. Like, I can either side with one of the power brokers. There are two power brokers, Michigan, Ohio State, right? I can either side with one of those two against the other one, by the way, or I can side with 13 and take my chances. And I think he chose to side with 13.
I still think it would have been easier to say, hey, look, there is no way we can lay this down this quickly. We're going to do a thorough investigation. Yeah. I would have blamed it on my legal team. Hey, look, we've got attorneys involved here from the Big Ten. We just can't make a rash decision right now.
And none of you 13 will want me to do it to your team. I'm not going to do it to Michigan because you 13 won.
Oh, and by the way, just because you've got Harbaugh out, you still haven't taken care of the Michigan problem that still lies there. I mean, they didn't have Harbaugh this past weekend. They went on the road and they handled.
If he can prepare his team, then you're missing nothing.
That's right.
Nothing.
There's really no punishment.
Because as you pointed out, everyone's got an analytical book that Harbaugh helps make the decision, so they know, WWJD, what would Jim do at this point over on the sidelines? Okay, it's a 2-point game here at the end. He says, go for it. Let's go for two.
As Greg said, the best tweet he saw over the weekend was if the Big Ten really wanted to punish Michigan, they would suspend James Franklin for the game.
That's right.
Which is a great tweet.
To let Manny Diaz coach him up. It would be a more thrilling game.
Yeah, so I don't think this is going to have any impact. I mean, it didn't seem to have any impact Saturday, did it?
No, and I mean, I don't know what you guys feel about Maryland. I think they're a very average team.
They'll run Maryland out.
I expect them to run Ohio State out.
If it's going to have any impact, it would have it against Ohio State. But I just don't know that it is.
Yeah, if that game was in Columbus, I would feel a little differently about it. But being in Ann Arbor, you think about that home crowd. This will be them coming back for the first time, right?
Yep. It's also not going to surprise me if they get this hearing Friday. There's some sort of injunction, and the Big Ten lessens it to just the one more game against Maryland, and he coaches against Ohio State. That's not going to shock me either.
Yeah, or if they grant the injunction and
he coaches the rest of them.
They said we'll attack it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Then, all that with a new college football playoff show coming tomorrow night. The AP poll didn't change. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. At the top three is where it's very different from the college football playoff rankings. It would not surprise me this week if the college football playoff rankings and the AP poll lines up after we've got Michigan against Penn State and Georgia with another quality win back-to-back against Missouri and Ole Miss, that if it goes Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State at the top.
There was almost some serious chaos this past weekend. You didn't get it, but Miami was close. Utah was close. USC, if you watch the game, was closer than you thought. TCU was extremely close.
Oh, yeah. TCU was about to get the ball back, and you got to give Texas credit for that completion down the sideline.
To Mitchell at the end on 3rd and 12.
Yeah, 3rd and 12. I mean,
3:54 to play, and TCU's about to get the ball back.
And they're about to get it back with field position, too. I mean, they're probably going to get that ball somewhere near midfield by the end of everything with timeouts. And, I mean, you got to give Ewers and Mitchell credit for making that completion.
Okay, more on Texas after you tell us about our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, where that 50% deposit bonus continues.
It does indeed, Jimmy Dunaway. They're going to match that initial deposit up to $1,000. They're going to match it 50% up to $1,000 right there at mybookie.ag. We've got NFL tonight. We'll be talking about it. As Jim mentioned earlier, we're out at Beef O'Brady's with our friends from Bud Light out in Hoover. We're going to be doing the MyBookie Monday night preview from there. So we'll be talking about this Broncos-Bills game. Sell it, right? Broncos at the Bills. The Broncos are a little resurgent.
They won 2 in a row.
They won 2 in a row. The Bills haven't been what we thought. The Bills are favored by 7, total of 47. You can play it right now at mybookie.ag. Now, code next round, when you make that initial deposit at mybookie.ag, you get that sign-on bonus of 50% of your deposit up to $1,000. That's free money you can play with right away at mybookie.ag. Win once, and it is yours and yours forever. It's not one of those you got to win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round.
Okay, let me put my Crimson glasses on real quick.
Jimmy Crimson, hit me.
Texas almost lost to Houston.
Yep.
Should have lost to Kansas State.
Yep.
And was battling TCU at the end. Blew 20-point leads in all those games. This is not a great Texas team.
It is regressed.
I think they lose this week.
at Iowa State.
Yep.
So you're telling me for one coach in Nick Saban that 2 times in his career a road game at Iowa State in November is going to open the door up
That's
for Alabama?
That's a tough place to play. And as you said, Texas is not playing their best football right now. And a friend of mine sent me an interview with Colin Cowherd and our friend Joel Klatt from last week, and I was listening to it, and it was so funny because Cowherd's like, the way Sark coaches, the way he recruits, you can go on and pencil in 10 wins every year. And Klatt was like, Colin, I just got to remind you, he's never won 10 games as a head coach.
Ever. Yeah. Why aren't we penciling it in?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, they're 9-1 right now. They'll find a way to 10 wins, but I don't think it's this weekend. I mean, Alabama fans were so excited about how that TCU game was playing out. I think this is where Texas trips
up. And by the way, it keeps Iowa State, believe it or not, I don't know how they've done this, but that win keeps them in the Big 12 championship game discussion.
Yeah.
They're tied at 5-2 with K-State, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State. So they've got a shot at getting in the Big 12 championship game, believe it or not, if they win that game.
I think Saturday night the snow globe gets shaken because I think Oregon State beats Washington.
I told Dunaway this before the show. It was an awful week. I was like, Dunaway, it's where it's going to happen.
Yep.
No chaos. I think Dunaway's going reverse landmine on this.
Probably.
No chaos, Brown.
This is where we get 2 of the contenders that get bounced.
Yep.
Yeah. No help for, if you're an Alabama fan, the last 3 weeks you've been waiting for that pearly gate to swing open as it always does for Alabama.
I think Tennessee's got something for Georgia this week, too. As good as Georgia is.
Hey, Coach Bryant.
So exactly the way. Are we in heaven?
What's Gabriel's trumpet sound like?
And the angels start singing, "We just beat the hell out of you."
We always get chaos, by the way. We're going to get some chaos. I think those are the 2 games that where the chaos starts. I don't know how much does the Pac-12 matter?
It does. Let's break up after we talk to Joel Klatt. Maybe Joel will get into the Pac-12. Okay. He seems to always do. We'll talk to Joel Klatt when we come back, and we'll talk about where the Pac-12 is and all this. And I think Joel has a college football playoff thought or two. Don't forget Beef O'Brady's tonight with our friends at Bud Light, and then Bud Light game night on Thursday. We're at Top Golf. Loosen up that back, Brownie.
I got it,
Time
Jimmy.
for a little Top Golf Thursday night. Beef O'Brady's tonight at 5. And then Top Golf on Thursday at 5 with our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're back in a moment right here on TNR.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Joe Klatt in a second. The show being brought to you by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. If you haven't had that roof inspected in a while, now's the time to do it. Summer storms can loosen up shingles and bend shingles and just create different points of entry for water onto your roof, and that's where our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing and Greg from Pell City can help out. 205-542-3531, 542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. Or just look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Insurance companies trust him, and you should too. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. Joel Klatt in just a second. A couple other quick notes while we wait on Klatt. Missouri just beat Tennessee's eyes out. Cody Schrader, 205 yards rushing, 116 yards receiving. That kid was good against Georgia, too. He's been good all season.
Yeah, Schrader's been really good. You know, everybody talks about Luther Burden III, and he is the best player on that offense, but Schrader's really good.
The chat room quickly flipped to, you guys are talking about Alabama needing some chaos. They better worry about the trip to Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn.
No doubt. I mean, when you start talking about chaos, I mean, you bake into the fact that you got to win the rest of yours, and that is far from a gimme. What do you think that number is right now?
Bama.
Preseason was Bama 14.
Yeah, probably a little less than that. High end 13, low end 10.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn is obviously playing much better. There are a lot of people that are just going to discount, or they're going to attribute it to level of competition, schedule, that you've played Vandy State and Arkansas, which very well could be the 3 worst teams in the conference. I don't know, but I think you got to look at the whole picture and see the signs of improvement at Auburn. And, I've always said, and I say this with Michigan, I know I kind of dolled out Michigan a minute ago, even when you play a crappy schedule, there are ways good teams are supposed to beat crappy teams, right? I can look at that and say, that's how a good team beats a crappy team. And that's what Auburn did Saturday. That's the way a good team beats a crappy team.
That's exactly right. We'll talk to Klatt in a second. Florida State beat Miami 27-20. And that team's had some injuries, but Keon Coleman and their receivers were back in this game. That team, it seems to have a paved road to the playoffs, but I don't know if they deserve it, even if they're unbeaten. But they're going to go back to that win over LSU and trumpet that as a great win as well.
That's the problem. If Florida State would have opened up with, West Virginia, and they had the same record, I could see an undefeated ACC champion get bounced for a one-loss Pac-12, Big 12, or SEC.
Yeah, that's a funny team. And then the Pac-12 that you wanted to talk about, Washington edges Utah, and they did it with defense in the second half. And Oregon survives USC. Bo Nix with 412 passing yards in that one. Let's bring in Klatt and talk a little about this race for a 4-team playoff. 8 would be sweet.
Yeah.
12 would be fabulous.
No doubt.
We've only got 4.
That's right. It's going to be interesting. Klatt joins us each week. Courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND to get that sign-on bonus match 50% up to $1,000 when you go to MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Big Noon Kick goes to Maryland this week. Michigan at Maryland. Sharon Moore leading his troops into a game against Maryland. All right, so Klatt, a couple weeks ago, you and I argued about a Tennessee-Penn State matchup and what it would look like. Saturday was not a great day for either side of our argument on that one, was it?
Well, I mean, the argument, at least Penn State is elite in one area. There's at least one area of the team that you could say, like, okay, that's an elite area. That defense is really good for Penn State. One of the best in the country. You almost feel bad for them because they're dipping into, at least in the big games, they can score points against regular teams, right? And even, decent teams. But when you get them against like the big boys, they turn into like Iowa. Yeah. It's like great defense, can't move the ball. So I'm holding my position. Penn State's better than Tennessee. There's actually not a doubt in my mind.
Hey,
definitely.
How do you go 32 consecutive straight run calls? I mean, that's amazing. Because JJ McCarthy, I said it before we were doing our pregame, Klatt, and I'm like you. I think I heard you say last week that McCarthy is probably your third quarterback to come out in this draft behind both Caleb Williams and Drake May. And I'm just waiting to see him on a big stage be able to show off that skill set. They didn't need to. I still think he's a really good quarterback. I don't know how good he is because I hadn't been able to see it.
Well, we saw it last year, on the road at Ohio State. When they needed it. And we've seen it at times, just last week, he threw it career high. I think it was 37 times for well over 300 yards. It's there. The tape is impressive. There's no doubt. It wasn't necessarily about him or the wide receivers. It was the matchup. The speed of the Penn State pass rush is elite. Like, those guys can really rush the passer. Manny Diaz does a great job. They're very aggressive. Guys like Adisa Isaac, Abdul Carter can get after it. Deny Dennis Sutton, who's a former 5-star player. And the speed rush, Michigan was not going to have an answer for it. And rather than just sit there like so many college coordinators do and be like, well, we got to figure this out and continue to throw the ball, I'm pretty sure, I haven't watched the tape back, I'm almost certain that Michigan did not throw a straight drop back pass after the second series of the game.
Wow.
When they took a sack, every pass attempt either had play action or roll action to it from then on. And within those 32, they did call 2 passes. One was a pass interference, and then the other JJ decided to run on 4th and 1. But yeah, 32 straight runs, and you got to credit them because like play callers in our sport get so married to the system, and they feel like they've got to, they've got to legitimize their Tuesday night work, guys, and maybe even in the NFL. And something will work, a personnel group will work, and then it's like you don't see it again for a while, and you're like, what are you doing? And we see this all the time. I see it every week. There's a clear mismatch of formation alignment, something going on the game, and then the coordinator just goes away from it, and it's like they're looking through their novel over there, and they're like, well, I thought of this play, and I got to get to this one over here, and they're like, spread right too, and I'm like, guys, just run what was working. And credit Sharon, that's what he did. He found those extra linemen on the field. It worked. They got big against the speed of Penn State. And he didn't get bored taking a profit. I say that a lot. People like, if they watch my games all the time, they're like, you have those like same go-tos. Yeah, they do, because it's true. As a play caller, you cannot get bored taking a profit. If it's there, continue to take it. And generally speaking, that profit, that small success is going to wind up creating or building to bigger success. And that's what happened with Michigan.
Do you have that trademarked yet? Because we have someone in charge of trademarks here on our platform. So we'd hate to make money off.
Let's do it.
We'd hate to make money off of your phrasing if you don't have a trademark. I guess we'd cut you in at this point.
You guess?
I would hope. Hey, I feel like we all are close enough, right?
Yeah, we're family.
I know. I don't think Tennessee is better than Penn State, but I mean, aren't we friends?
No, it's Missouri. It's Missouri this year that's better than Penn State. But I digress.
Oh gosh, it's so gross. That take is so gross.
Klatt, you just sat there and watched.
I was joking. Come on.
No.
Man.
Hey, tell me
again. Never mind.
I'll tell you. But would you have a neutral site? Penn State, Missouri.
Penn State.
Okay.
Missouri doesn't have anything on their team outside of Burden that is elite. Penn State is a top 2 or 3 defense in the country, and say what you will about the 2 performances against Ohio State and Michigan, who, by the way, happen to have 2 of the other best defenses in the country. Their offense was averaging 40 points per game. Everyone thinks that this is like Iowa 2.0, and I know I made that comparison, but it's not. I think it's a lazy take. You look at what Missouri actually is. You look at what the SEC outside of the top 2 actually are, in particular in non-conference games this year, and they're not as good as what they have been. That's not me throwing shade at the conference. It's the best conference in the country and has been for a long time, 2 decades. But calling a spade, like Missouri is not as good as Penn State.
Okay, but how about this game day coach, Eli Drinkwitz or James Franklin? I think you got to think about it.
Yeah.
That's a totally different question.
I mean, what in the hell was he thinking? I mean, I don't
know. And Riley, by the way, Lincoln Riley did it later in the game.
Oh,
the
yeah.
9-point, 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you sit in the booth and you're like, wait. Like, I rub my temples like this because I'm like, am I? I feel like Mugatu. I'm like, am I taking crazy pills right now?
Yeah.
Am I the only one? Is there like an army of analytics nerds sitting there thinking like, this is the right call? And I'm like, probably should kick the extra point. Probably should punt. The 4th down decisions in both games, by the way, Ohio State and in this one against Michigan, too early to put the game on the line there, in particular with where you're giving the ball to the opposition. The problem with James Franklin is that he operates as if he's coaching a team with an elite offense and a suspect defense, where he's going to have to chase points, have to be aggressive on 4th down. And that's what he says after the game. And I don't think that he understands what his team actually is. And maybe that's too harsh. And listen, James has been highly successful. Let's call a spade, highly successful. However, you've got to have a unique understanding to who are we, where are we going, and how are we going to get there. And the fact remains is that when they get into that game against Ohio State or against Michigan, you've got to operate much more like Kyle Whittingham or Kirk Ferentz. Extend as much as possible. Field position, as much as possible. You are a defensive-oriented team, and at no point should you be going for it in your territory in the 4th quarter when it's only a 1-possession game. Extend the game. The 2-point conversion with 9 points, still to this day, people are like, well, they say, then you know what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is 2 possessions.
That's right.
You created another possession necessity on your own team.
Yeah, now I know
so
I
great.
need 2.
You know that you lose.
I need 2
Good
onside
for you.
kicks. I can't even get 1. Now I'm going to have to get 2.
Yeah, I thought Franklin lost the game twice. You mentioned it in the broadcast. You're like, this is the game. He's putting the game in his offense's hands on a 4th and 6, inside the 35. And then the very next play, Corum breaks it off. And then they come down, score, and go for the 2. And you completely took your team out of it again. I was baffled by what he was doing out there.
Baffled. And this is 2 straight weeks, where I feel like coaches, they're so eager these days. I do think it's the pendulum of the analytics. And I'm not against analytics. There's a place and a time to be more aggressive than what we know historically, coaches have been. I'm fully aware and agree with a lot of it. However, it feels like the pendulum has swung. We talked about it last week. Remember, Jimmy? We talked about, who was it? Kleiman did the same thing. He put the game on 1 snap with the Kansas State-Texas game when he was the better team. To me, if you're just operating with clear eyes and evaluating the game, you extend the game in those sections. Man, I'm telling you guys, it's a lonely spot to be up there in the booth in your own head, and you're like, what am I missing right now?
Yeah. I mean, Dan Lanning did it early in the USC game.
Yourself. You're like, wait. It's in the computer?
Lanning did it early in the USC game. It didn't bite him, but he went for 2 early, second and third touchdowns and missed both of those.
I hate it. I hate early going for 2.
Yeah.
You are constantly chasing points.
Okay,
constantly.
That's a lot of talk about that game on the field. but you guys had to deal with it with the big noon kickoff pregame show and into that game with Harbaugh being prevented from coaching in that contest. Listen, I do think there's something to cheating the actual outcome of the game, opposite of cheating in recruiting. But the way this is being handled, I don't like it. It just doesn't feel right. I'd love to hear. I heard you on the broadcast, but for our audience that may have missed the start of that game, what do you think of how this Harbaugh thing's being handled?
Okay, so I think that multiple things can be true, and this is what gets lost, because I think, and this happens a lot, you know, in a number of different discussions, whether it's sports or culture or politics in our country, is that people think that you've got to take a side and be rigid towards that opinion, whereas a lot of times two things can be true at once. In this case, two things can be true at once. Does somebody need to pay the price? Does some consequence need to happen probably in this season because the cheating occurred in this season and there is evidence of that? Yes. Does that fall on somebody that embodies the program? Yes. Could it be a fine or a suspension for the head coach? Yeah. So I'm fine with the actions of the Big Ten. What I thought was suspect was the timing of the way that it all came down. The report leaked from Pete Thamel before an email had even gone out to Michigan. Michigan got the email at 3:48 on the plane, headed to Penn State. Thamel released his report at 3:30. That's not right? And then at 3:49, the official release goes out from the Big Ten for everybody else. So here is a team flying to State College to play a game in 20 hours. And their players are seeing it before even the AD is, because they're on social media and they're on a plane with their head coach. The amount of distraction that the Big Ten created with that within the Michigan football program, and let me finish that thought first. I think that with the timing of the suspension, the Big Ten, the unintended consequence of that was that they inserted themselves into the competitive balance of the game because of how late it went. So now you have to scramble as a team and a program. How are we going to operate tomorrow? Who's going to have that responsibility? And to me, that then penalizes the players, which is the exact thing that I would be trying to avoid if I was the Big Ten. Because let's face it, whether the players benefited or not doesn't mean that they are guilty, or, and deserve some sort of punishment. So a lot of things can be true. The nuance there is obviously difficult. The Big Ten will say that Michigan slow played the week in terms of their response to the information given to Michigan, and Michigan is saying that due process didn't happen. The Joint Executive Committee clearly it smells blood in the water, and they want Michigan punished. So it's a mess. It's a mess, and it takes really deft leadership skills. And I felt like the timing was botched. And because of that, it affected the competitive balance of the game. And because of that, I praised the way that the players on the field, adapted and fought through the adversity. That doesn't mean that Michigan is innocent. It just means that the players who didn't really have anything to do with this, I felt like played well through the chaos. Gosh, man, it's a tough week because everybody's mad. Everybody's mad on one side or the other. They want blood. Michigan thinks that they're the victim, and it's an interesting deal.
Joel Klatt is with us. MyBookie.ag, code next round to get that sign-on match 50% up to $1,000 when you use code next round at MyBookie.ag. And I'm as guilty as anybody. I am pointing at me with this question to you. We are a microwave society. We want to see players be great the moment they start. We have been conditioned to do that by some players that are great the moment they start. Jalen Milroe was not, but Jalen Milroe from day one to where he is now, he has developed and he is playing quarterback now, Klatt.
No doubt. And now he has become not just a piece that they've got to play around, but a piece where that they play through. And he's become a weapon. And his ability now to make quality decisions, and then use his legs not as his get out of jail free card, but as a true threat, I think is really impressive. I've been so impressed with the way that he has developed. I go back and forth because I keep thinking to myself, the way that this team looked early, I'm like, man, Nick Saban has done an amazing job. It is still the composite most talented team in the country. So he's working with, the best tools in the country. He needed to develop the quarterback, and they have. And now I wouldn't want to play Alabama. Even if I was Georgia, I wouldn't want to play Alabama. The interesting part for me, guys, is the way that this season is playing out. And I know people are, and I'm not suggesting this should happen. There is a scenario where Alabama wins out and doesn't make the playoff, which is wild because they are at this moment, and I'm telling you this, they are playing as well as anybody. They are playing top 4 football in the country. But because of the way that the resumes shake out, and in particular the fact that their loss could be one of the teams that is vying for one of those spots, that there's a scenario like they need some help. It would really be great if Texas were to lose. It would be even better if Florida State were to lose. Those things might be important for Alabama, even though they're playing as well as anybody in the country. They are going to need a little bit of help, I think, to get into the playoff.
And I think we get chaos. I think it's this weekend. I don't know how you feel. Texas is not playing good football right now. And you go to Ames. You've been to Ames. Ames is a weird place.
Yeah, man. This is not a joke. We had a delay for a tornado this week of the season. It was the week before Thanksgiving. And we went up there, and we win the division. Okay. We were ranked, veteran team. Coach Barnett has an extension, they said, on the table. And we went up there and we get an 1.5-hour tornado delay. I can't make this up. Go out in the first quarter, it's blowing what felt like 8 million miles an hour directly in our face, right? Like we ran it 16 straight times to open the game because we couldn't throw it. Like it's just a wild place. They're playing good football. Matt Campbell has got this team believing a little bit more. And Texas, they've been up and down up there. And they've been up and down this season. And it's interesting because it's moments within games. Last year, it was entire games. They would come out and just be like, who is this team? Why are they playing down to the level of their competition? Now, it's more minimized. And this is why they're a much better team this year. Now it stretches within games. They had it against Kansas State. They had it again against TCU. And now Jonathan Brooks is injured, and he was a big piece of that offense. He tore up his knee. He's going to be out for the remainder of the season. So now it's going to fall on C.J. Baxter, their true freshman, who's a really talented player. But, Texas is up against it. This is going to be a huge test for them. There's no doubt.
All right, he's Joel Klatt. You can see Michigan at Maryland at 11 o'clock on Fox, 11 Central, 12 noon for the big noon kickoff on Saturday.
I told Jenny, I was like, let's assume Michigan wins. You got to start the postgame interview with just like, Sharon, do you want to try this again?
Sharon, a reminder, we're on network television.
We are on network television.
Find out.
I thought that after he thanked the Lord and then said what he did, Jenny should have just, or Gus should have just been like, and we'll see you in church on Sunday morning.
Yeah. Find out if he likes the morning show on Apple, because their season finale ends almost identical to Jenny's interview with him.
That is true.
With them
Really?
paying some FCC fines exactly the same way.
I just thought it was amazing. Sorry, I'm taking up too much time. But at one point, he kind of like shouts at the team in the interview, like, I love you guys. And all I could think about was old school in the wedding, where it's like, it's so good to see Frank's dad out here. And he's like, I love you, Dad.
Klatt, have a great week, buddy. Thank you for the time, as always.
You too, guys. Later, boys.
See you, Klatt, with us. Courtesy of MyBookie.ag, code next round for that 50% sign-on match up to $1,000, mybookie.ag code next round.
You know, LT's got a new fire pit out back, and he's been letting that hair blow in this fall breeze outside, haven't you? Just take that hat off.
Yeah, sure. Don't wait. Paint the picture. Paint the picture.
That wind is blowing through it.
Again, when I started to thin out, Dr. Beckenstein is the name everyone mentioned. I went to see Dr. Beckenstein it's close to 20 months ago. My hair is more than doubled in thickness since that first initial meeting. 205-319-0316. Just went in a few weeks ago. Got the Sensus Transdermal Infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary as Dr. B can pinpoint the delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. Make the phone call that I made, 205-319-0316, or for more information, you can always go online, t3hair.net.
Unlocked with Fox Sports' Brock Heward and Lance Taylor weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Cart for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Hi, this is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. You're not average, and the New Balance Birmingham store has the shoes and apparel to perfectly match your unaverage self. If we were all shaped the same and had the same level of fitness, and if we all walked and ran exactly alike, well, then I guess an average shoe store selling average shoes would be just fine. But you deserve better. At the New Balance Birmingham store, our specialists will match you with a custom pair of New Balance shoes that fit you perfectly. Come see us at the New Balance Birmingham store. Your feet will thank you.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Thanksgiving is here, and let the New York Butcher Shop be the place to get all of your holiday meal items. Their premium turkeys are fresh, free-range, and hormone-free. The New York Butcher Shop also has a wide selection of chef-prepared side items to help save you time in the kitchen. Pick up a bottle of wine, and your meal will be complete. Turkeys are selling fast, so place your order today. 2 locations to serve you, in Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Okay, before we get to JD and Huntsville on the phones here at 205-734-0923, tell us about our friends at New York Butcher Shop, LT.
I went in there on Friday, saw our good friend Jim at the New York Butcher Shop, but they want to remind you that Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It's actually next week. It's that close. They're taking reservations now. They highly recommend reservations. They've sold out of turkeys each year. They don't want people to miss out. Turkeys are fresh from Joyce Farms, one of the best poultry producers in America. Turkeys are fresh. They can smoke or brine them. All their side dishes prepared in-house will feed 8 to 10 people. Don't forget, they've got desserts like pies, cakes, banana breads. Had some of that banana rum bread this past week. Fantastic. Great wine selection to pair with your turkey or beef tender roast. Stop in. Rare quality, well done service. 2 locations. Greystone and Cahaba Heights, it's the New York Butcher Shop.
Karen, real quickly, wants to know, her brother wants to know, do you take any supplements?
I do not, Karen. I just do the 3 non-invasive treatments, 30 minutes each, the LED laser cap. That's it.
That's it. So it's that easy. JD, it's this easy. You're on the air with us. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys, doing great. First, Jim, let me apologize for the other night. You were doing the post game with the Alabama after the Alabama basketball game. And, our high school scoreboard show comes on like at 9:30, and I'm asking the guys, like, why are we not on? And they're like, well, it's Alabama post game. And I was like, oh, yeah. Well, that's Dunaway. He's keeping us from our scoreboard.
We want our football scores.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I knew you were
like,
joking. I knew you were joking. I knew it wasn't a serious complaint. Though it was the only complaint I got so far, so I appreciate that.
Oh, wow.
JD. But it was I was shocked. I was just telling the guys about it during one of the commercial breaks. I was surprised that I had 31, actually more than that, 31 different sponsors, about 42 live reads in the course of the pre and post game shows. And they said, hey, we need to be out by 10 o'clock at the top. And I said, oh, I have experience. I'll get us out.
I'm built for this. I am built for this.
Oh, man. I mean, I just finished one of the games that I was covering, and they were waiting for me to go on for me to talk about it. I was like, well, I can't go on because Dunaway's still talking. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, I did the old live read. Hey, by the way, Alabama out-rebounded Indiana State. Those rebounds brought to you by.
Get them in, baby.
Too funny. Well, listen, Klatt is just crazy. I was hoping you guys would ask him what he thought Penn State would have done if they played at Georgia. Could they have played as well as Missouri did?
Get smoked because Georgia's number one. James Franklin wouldn't know where to go.
It wasn't even worth the argument. I mean, Missouri realistically should have one loss, and that's Georgia. They should have beaten LSU. They dominated that entire game, and LSU flipped it around late in the fourth quarter. This Missouri team is really good, and I would lean Missouri beats Penn State.
And, hey, tomorrow when you talk to Clay, ask him if he still thinks that Tennessee's on par with Alabama. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
No
our next round Twitter account sent out a picture of Alabama truck passing Tennessee in a slow car in the left lane. It was pretty good.
Well, the other thing is it's going to be carnage. I don't think Florida State's gonna. I think they're going to lose, maybe even to Louisville in the ACC championship game. I could, obviously Michigan or Ohio State are going to lose. But I think Alabama's fine. Just win, and I think they're going to be fine. That would just take a bizarre situation. You're right, guys. Iowa State, Texas could absolutely lose this Saturday. But even if they don't, they're not going to. They're going to lose. You know they are.
Yeah. JD, thank you. I will say this for Florida State: beware of Florida playing for Billy Napier's job in that last game of the season.
I talked to some Florida fans yesterday. One of those was the mimosa with the vodka shot in it. But they were like, they're not getting rid of Napier. They were like, there's no way, too quick of a trigger, and he has got an unbelievable recruiting class coming in.
But, I mean, if it starts to filter out there, and that's not just Florida, I'm saying that's a dangerous situation when you're going to your rival's home and they think they might be playing for a coach they like. That can create some weird situations.
Florida State is by no means playing their best football right now.
Yeah, I mean, they looked so good against LSU, and then we learned all of a sudden that LSU's defense isn't all that, right? And Florida State showed us that, and we thought, well, maybe it's just Florida State's that good. As the season's gone on, we've seen that LSU's defense just isn't that good.
Yeah.
And so that took away a little bit of what Florida State was able to do to them in the second half of that contest there. So resumes, man.
Yeah, Florida State's played some not-so-good teams close. I mean, Miami was right in that game. It's not a great Miami team. Boston College in Boston, in that game. I mean, Florida.
Not great Clemson. Should have beat them.
Yeah, Florida's every bit as good as Boston College or Miami.
And maybe Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, so that is not going to blow me away when Florida State goes to Gainesville on rivalry Saturday.
And by the way, Louisville, if they do rise up and beat them in the ACC championship game, Louisville would not sniff the college football playoffs.
Nowhere close.
Nope. I am ready. If this was an election, I'm ready to call it. Louisville is out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that
despite
one.
wherever they show up in the rankings tonight, they can win out and will not get there. All right. We approach the top of the hour here. One more thing to get to still. After LT tells us about our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa, I'll get to rebounding numbers and free throw numbers after this Woodhouse spot.
Yeah, Woodhouse, just a great place to get that holiday gift right around the corner. You can order them 24/7 online. You can stop in to the Summit Shopping Centers, go see Stuart Casey, the fine folks up there. But if you just want to order the perfect gift online, very simple. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Again, online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or stop by the Summit Shopping Centers and tell them the Next Round sent you.
In case you've lost track of where this falls, Chuck Dunlap, our buddy with the Southeastern Conference, pointing out right now that as the Western Division champion, Alabama will be the home team, thus in their crimson jerseys. At the Georgia Dome, or excuse me, Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the SEC championship game. It alternates each year, so this is the year that the West team is home. So for those that care about those things, Alabama will be in the crimson jerseys and
with
Georgia in the white.
Crimson piping and white pants.
All of a sudden, you're the Alabama play-by-play guy now.
Yeah.
So Bama in the crimson, not the crisp road whites that they play in.
So that would, well, there's no if to it anymore. It's Georgia and Alabama
that's done.
Coming up in the SEC championship game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Alabama is 7-0.
Interesting, Jimmy.
They've never lost.
Has Georgia ever lost there?
I don't think they. Yeah, to Alabama.
To
Alabama.
Twice to Alabama.
Yeah,
had the old walk-off in the national championship game and the fake punt.
Yep. How about that? Was the Jalen and Tua, that was in there too, wasn't it?
That's the fake punt game. Yeah. Same game. Yeah.
Okay. Was they fake a punt in that game too?
Was it when Tua replaced Jalen? Yeah, it's the national championship game.
Did they hug on the bench afterwards in that game?
Both times. Nick Saban get emotional? Yes.
Forster, there's got to be something you've got that I sent you 1,000 things. Let's do a couple of quick things before we get to the top. It is the top of the hour. Station identification in a second. Let's go first. Audio up. Is it on my cut sheet or is it you? No, it's on my cut sheet, I think. Audio up, Rockstar, of cut number 13. Cut number 13. There is an Oklahoma fan's sister who lives in Eugene, Oregon, who is good enough connected that she gets to this point right here in the visiting tunnel. And I'm going to play sound up and listen to what she says to Lincoln Riley, what Lincoln says back.
Boomer Sooner, you traitor! Boomer Sooner, you traitor!
You got it, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
You got it, sweetheart.
I couldn't tell what, that's what he said. I couldn't tell what Lincoln said.
Hey, that was a quick response.
Yeah. And he looks like he's smiling, too.
Yeah.
He didn't look...
Boomer Sooner, you traitor. Yeah. You got it, sweetheart.
Was that after the game?
Oh, yeah.
Damn. Wow. Yeah, that smiling smirk. They've lost 4 or 5.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not after the game. That
looks like halftime to me.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
That's a good point. Because you're right. He's smiling. That would be probably a different reaction.
Yeah. Boomer Sooner, you traitor.
And do we have North Carolina rushing the field? Do we have North Carolina rushing the field?
After beating Duke?
They did. It was 47-45, double overtime.
Uh-huh.
And they get a great stop against Duke, who failed on their 2-point conversion. And I texted our friend of the show, Taylor Tannenbaum. Some of you like her. And that's her sideline. And I said, listen, I just need to text this. Was that an elite rushing of the field? Or, because Clemson has that tradition where everybody comes on the field anyway. Is there some tradition where after North Carolina and Duke, they always come on the field? And she's like, no. That was absolutely a field rush. And I said, we've gotten to the point where North Carolina is rushing the field on Duke.
As a double-digit favorite, by the way.
Yeah. What a scene in Kenan Stadium.
I think, though, North Carolina, if they are tied with Louisville, I think North Carolina's got the tiebreaker. They did not play head-to-head, but I think I've read or heard somewhere that North Carolina actually holds the tiebreaker.
If I was Florida State, I would rather play Louisville.
North Carolina is at Clemson, and Louisville is at Miami. North Carolina's at Clemson and at NC State, so they've got the tougher road. Louisville's at Miami, and then they get Kentucky out of conference.
Yeah, so North Carolina still has a path, but Louisville needs to lose.
Yeah. I think North Carolina, I think I heard it. I think it was on the Thursday night game where Louisville was playing Virginia that the announcer said Louisville can either win it where they win or North Carolina loss. So I think it's North Carolina they got to get past.
I agree. They don't want to see Drake May in North
No,
Carolina.
I mean, that's the thing. I think Louisville might be the better overall team. Neither one of these teams is great, but, Drake May has one of those games.
Yep. Kevin, you're right. Maggie was pissed at that field. Maggie instantly started complaining about the rules of college football overtime.
How did we let it get to this?
Trust me, she was already under the sheets, sound asleep,
We
wondering why I was still making noise.
We play football? Or we basketball school?
It is officially the top of the hour here. Our friends at Wayne's bring you this hour all the time. Wayne's right there. Excuse me, not Wayne's. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about
You're talking about
Champy's.
Champy's, Jay.
Champy's brings you this hour all the time. Our great friends there at Champy's on Highway 119 in Alabaster. They use Wayne's, by the way. But Champy's Chicken right there. Sterling, his crew, just fantastic people. And they want to help you with lunch today. It's open now. Dinner tonight. Tailgates, whatever. Champy'sChicken.com. Champy'sChicken.com. And listen, day after Thanksgiving when you're tired of the turkey already, or maybe Saturday when you're tired of the leftovers, great place to go by there. Highway 119 in Alabaster is Champy'sChicken.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got two great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State Map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest, or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop unwanted guests. Save $50 from our friends at Wayne's right now. Call 866-WAYNES-1 this holiday season. Give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with a $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. Keep your celebrations joyful and free of unwanted critters this holiday and beyond. At Wayne's Pest Control, we don't just promise short-term fixes. We promise year-round protection for your home, keeping your family, children, and pets safe. Again, call 866-WAYNES-1 today. That's 866-WAYNES-1.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
You know, one of those things that always pop back up when your team is not doing so well. This wasn't at his introductory news conference, but it was early on. Texas A&M had this moment with Jimbo Fisher back in the early days in College Station.
Says here, Jimbo Fisher, head football coach, NCAA Division I Football National Championship, Texas A&M University. The only difference between Kobe's and yours is you get to fill in a date.
I hope I fill in a couple.
You didn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, the problem for him was quarterback, man. His best quarterback was one that he inherited when he took over, and that was Kellermond. I mean, none of his five-star quarterbacks ever worked out. Calzada, Haynes King, who's actually playing better now that he's at Georgia Tech.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. But
Connor Wegman, I mean, he got hurt, so.
Statistically, Kellermond had the best career in Mississippi State, or excuse me, in Texas A&M history. Now, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback ever played. I'm just saying statistically, what do they have to show for that?
Nothing.
I mean, not a thing.
Top 5 ranking in a COVID season.
Yeah.
No trips to Atlanta
Nothing.
in his time there.
Nope. Wasn't even really particularly close. I mean, like, what is the closest he got to Atlanta?
2020.
Yeah, in the COVID year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, most years he was eliminated from Atlanta by the time they got to November.
I mean, 45 and 25 at A&M. That is so average.
Yeah, but while he was there, LSU had their best team ever. Alabama had arguably their best team ever in 2020. All of a sudden, Georgia probably has had their best team or teams ever.
Yeah, but you know, last year was wide open. I mean, that was an A&M team that almost beat Alabama, but LSU in year one under Brian Kelly was able to get there. That wasn't a great LSU team.
It wasn't. I'm just saying that he's run into a period in time where 3 programs that are considered to be at the top of the SEC not only were as good as they always are, they had arguably their best teams ever.
But my counter to that would be if I'm an A&M fan and I sign him to that original 10-year, $75 million deal, in 6 years, I expect him to have one of the best the best A&M team in the history of A&M football at least once in those 6 years.
That's right. If you were only losing to LSU's best team ever or Alabama's best team ever or Georgia's best team ever in a season, he did that one year, 2020. The only loss he had was to Alabama's best team ever.
And it wasn't particularly close, but it was still a loss.
But that was the best team Alabama's ever had, arguably, and that was his only loss. So that was his best year.
No doubt.
But in other years, he lost to more people than LSU.
Yep.
He lost to more people than when they had to play Georgia.
That's right.
He didn't get to Atlanta. So there's reasons for the firing. And hats off. I mean, instead of sitting there and wallowing in it for another year, at least you rip the Band-Aid off if you're a Texas A&M fan. And let's talk about some of the names that are being mentioned after I tell you about the name I mentioned all the time, our friends at Legacy. The Legacy credit card is out there for you right now during this holiday season. Just when you need to manage your spending safely and wisely, that's when you go to the Legacy credit card. You see, credit cards offer better consumer protections against fraud when compared to debit cards, which are linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.90% APR, while those other credit cards are much higher than that. Look no further than Legacy and open a credit card online in minutes. LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. APR is an annual percentage rate. Rates and offers subject to change. See the website for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. ESPN.com puts 3 coaches on the top tier and then some other coaches to consider, and there's different lists out there.
This is for A&M?
Texas A&M. Their top 3 coaches that are out there: Mike Elko, Jeff Traylor, Dan Lanning. They say that's the top tier candidates for Texas A&M.
Jeff Traylor is interesting. Boy, that'd be a meteoric rise to go from high school coach to UTSA to a place like a high-end SEC job.
Described at ESPN and at The Athletic as culturally the best fit of any coach that is successful.
Well, he is wired into that entire state, and I think he's done a hell of a job at Texas San Antonio. I know this season not as good as I thought it would be, but if you go back, Frank Harris has never injured with that toe. I think it's probably a different story. I think they probably have one loss, and that loss is to Tennessee. But right now they're playing their best football.
He's 55, but for those that don't know his story, multiple year high school state champion in the state of Texas and multiple times voted by the other high school coaches in Texas as the coach of the year. So not only did he win, he won in a way where the other coaches loved him, and which would help tremendously in recruiting, a lot of people believe.
He is wired. I do feel like both Elko and Traylor, you can get a yes from at any time. Like, you don't have to rush to get those guys. Those guys tell you yes if you ask them today, if you ask them in January, if you ask them in April. They tell you yes.
Mike Elko, 46 years old, was there as a defensive coordinator during the early build of Jimbo, including the 2020 year.
Yeah, and he's at Duke now, for those that don't know, and has done an excellent job at Duke in spite of them getting the field rushed on them against Carolina. I mean, the fact that we expect them to win as much as we do now just shows you how good Elko has done, because that is a terrible program historically. Lanning's a different story. Like, Lanning is going to be the hottest name out there for everybody, and it's weird because Oregon just signed him to a nice contract, and it's like a $20 million buyout, yet it does not stop anybody from speculating on Lanning going to a lot of open jobs if they come open.
Yeah, I think Lanning stays put right now.
Yeah, it is a $20 million buyout, the new contract he signed this year, assuming he signed it. And I would tell you, I don't know what the wording is, if there's any offset to that or anything, or they can pay it out over a long period of time. I don't know what it is. But, I mean, you just paid somebody $76 million.
Yeah, what was that check? What was that big golf check they gave, though?
It was $160 million.
Yeah, we still got some left.
You got some to play with.
Yeah.
I do agree with Brown, though. I think both Traylor and Elko will say yes at any point.
Yep.
I don't think you can go wrong with any of those three.
Yeah, so you don't even have to go any further.
Well,
those three
I do want to hear the next tier, though.
Well, okay. Lance Leipold's got to be on the next tier.
Okay, Urban Meyer, by the way, not on anybody's list here. Remember, though, at Texas, they offered him a $10 million-ish contract per year to take the Texas job before Sark. And they may tell you Sark was their first offer, but there were good people, good sources that says their money people reached out to Urban to see if he was interested. He wasn't interested. If he's not interested in Texas, a few years later, he's not interested in Texas A&M, right?
Yeah.
I would not think so. No.
What I would pass on Texas and go to Texas A&M.
No, I don't think so.
There are two names that I would go in front of them. I don't know if either one of these guys would take the gig.
There's 5 coaches on what is considered the others.
But Kyle Whittingham, I'd make a run. He's a Utah guy. He played at BYU. He's lived there forever. I don't think he would take the job.
62, you would do that?
I would. Man, Kyle Whittingham can coach. If I was like, hey, look, if you ever want to win a championship, I know you've come really close here at Utah, but you could do it at A&M. And then the other is Jonathan Smith, because Oregon State is kind of, it's his alma mater. He's built this program. The guy can coach, and it will be back on the radar when he beats Washington this week. I was about
to say, you let him beat Washington this week or Oregon in the Civil War or both.
But my point is, the only reason he would leave is they don't have a conference now.
That's right.
And, as good as that job might have been for him, the unknown now, and Texas A&M is kind of a known.
But real quick on him, this just kind of occurred to me. He's playing Washington and Oregon back-to-back, right? He's got Washington this week in the Civil War.
Well, he could wreck everybody's
But
season.
you win both those, and he might be the hottest commodity in college football.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh.
If this was the Big Ten, Nick Saban's staff would be sending signals. Somebody needs to be sending signals to Jonathan Smith.
Right, who's on the next
But
tier?
all those guys that were mentioned and I mentioned, I'd be completely happy with those hires.
Okay, here are the 5 others, the 2 that you love, LT, Chris Kleiman and Kalen DeBoer.
Boy, Kleiman's interesting.
Yeah, DeBoer's a West Coast guy.
Washington got into the Big Ten.
Yeah, I don't know if DeBoer would take it. Kleiman would probably take this.
He would, and I think Kleiman's a good coach in spite of the ending of the Texas game. He did not handle the Texas game very well at all, and they had every opportunity to win that game.
But just based on the fact that he won a Big 12 championship last year, and he was in every situation to beat Texas this year.
It's described in these stories, Brown, as Kleiman. They sort of reference Chris Peterson, how he was comfortable in Boise and was very hesitant to leave that situation. They describe Kleiman as a guy who's really happy where he is and will be hesitant to leave, not because College Station is some metropolitan area, but just the pressure of coaching in the SEC like that and dealing with all the boosters and the money is probably something he doesn't want to do.
Here's the question I ask about Kleiman too, though, Lance. Do you think, and he's a coach so he can change, but the one thing I hate doing is hiring a coach and then saying, we want you to change. I want to hire you because I like it. But that style of play, what do you think about that in the SEC? It's what he did at North Dakota State, and it won big there. It's what he's done at Kansas State, and it has won there. It's won a conference championship. But does that style of play translate to the SEC to you?
I think it could. I mean,
I don't know if it does. I mean, I think it's a good Big 12. I'm in the mix every year style of play.
Again, they won the Big 12 last year.
I know. Yeah. But then they also go play Alabama. And now it's a bowl game. I discount a lot of what happens in bowl games, and they got completely smashed by Alabama. But I think the guy's a good coach. It would not be my first choice.
The other three coaches I don't think are real, but Sonny Dykes.
Oh, he's real.
No.
Sonny Dykes, James Franklin.
No.
Oh, that's if they hire James Franklin.
And Lane Kiffin.
No, James Franklin's the perfect hire for them. That's who Texas A&M has been the last
That's
decade.
who they just fired.
That's who they just fired was James Franklin.
Or Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, So Deion does not get mentioned at all.
Not in the story I read at ESPN.com.
Interesting.
Yeah, the Florida fans I talked to, hey, if you guys could get Deion, no on both of them. Deion, the luster has come off.
It has come off a little bit, but it ain't going to stop him from being mentioned for jobs like this.
Well, if I was A&M, I'd be disgusted if I hired Deion after Jimbo Fisher, just because he's not proven.
Well, I'd be more disgusted if I hired James Franklin.
I mean, look, he did a great job in September and into October, and they've surpassed expectations, but I just don't think there's a big enough sample size.
Yeah, I will read more articles, and if I see more names, I'll throw them out to you as we go through what is expected to be a lengthy process. But I'll ask you this question before we start to head to break here.
Mike Norvell's another one to take a look at.
Do you think they have they've already got in their mind who it's going to be? You think they've already got a backroom deal done?
I don't think you pull the trigger in this Board of Trustees meeting Thursday, before a game's even played, that you won, by the way, 59-10. If somebody on that Board of Trustees doesn't say, we got our guy, let's do it.
I don't know. I thought about this, but I think A&M is so confident, arrogant. They've got the pockets are so deep that we just mentioned 5 or 6 guys I'd be totally comfortable with, and I think their mindset might be, hey, look, we're A&M. We can get any of these 5 or 6 guys.
The thing about pulling the trigger this quick is a lot of people will say, well, you're first in the game. That doesn't matter with A&M. They're going to be the best job in the game. Who's going to have a better opening than A&M this year?
Yeah, I even think if Michigan opens up, I think A&M's a better job.
Yeah, I mean, it's an SEC job that pays a ton of money, that's in Texas with the facilities. I mean, it's a fantastic job.
I'm sorry to be that guy that always, I love raw emotion, but sometimes Sharon Moore post-game the other day.
You mean after Harbaugh died?
Looked to me like about how much he loved Michigan and these players and stuff. Looked to me like he was letting people know that when Jim Harbaugh leaves and heads off to the NFL after this year.
That was a me move?
That was a campaign speech?
That those tears were really good broadcast news tears.
I'll lower taxes and I'll get America back to work. Wait a minute.
Can you not see, though? I mean, literally at the 11th hour, he's handed this where Harbaugh takes him aside and said, hey, look, we've got this journey going. I completely believe in you. I'm going to be at my hotel room watching. You are the guy that's going to get us through that. I think that raw emotion could take over.
I'm not saying that it maybe it was all real, but it was a good, I could be the next coach at Michigan moment for him.
But he ain't going to be the next coach at Michigan.
You say that. He's a Michigan man now. He's been there 6 years.
I tell you what, look good in these situations, though. And if he wants a Mississippi State or something like that, I mean, he can definitely cash in on
to me,
this.
Mississippi State's going to be more fascinating because we know how good A&M is. We just don't know where Mississippi State is or what they can get.
We've got trash coming up in the next segment. It's going to get cool again, 69 today, but by the end of the week, we'll be cooling down again. Thanksgiving's next week as weather cools down. Stop the mice, the bed bugs, and the rodents before they come rolling in. Call 866-WAYNES-1, 866-WAYNES-1 to give yourself a safe and pest-free home. Sign up for any reoccurring service with Wayne's and save $50 off those services. Don't let mice and rats be uninvited guests this holiday season. Celebrate with our friends at Wayne's. Pest-free this holiday season. Call Wayne's. Call Waynes.com or 866-WAYNES-1, 866-WAYNES-1. And LT also, our friends right there at Hemp Hill, they bring you Lance's Lock. Maybe a play on Monday Night Football later on tonight, right?
Yeah, we do. We have the total up right now. We got 5 plays at lanceslock.com coming off that 10-3 Saturday for you. But remember, fall weather is here. Hemp Hill Services, they're offering a $69 fall tune-up. All you got to do is call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954. Hard to stop a train. Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Never miss anything Auburn. Watch Village Vice at Wardam Pods on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest. Want more of the Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Give the gift of Daniel Moore art this holiday season with the 2024 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar. This year's calendar features collectors' most beloved Daniel Moore Alabama football moments, from the classic goal line stand to the Saban-era 2nd and 26. Special offer for listeners only. Buy 2 calendars and get 1 free with code HOLIDAY at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live daily show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
See, there was something I wanted to say before you tell me about Harbin's that I haven't gotten to yet today. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I got a great stat coming up in the next, right after you tell us about, Barry Odom. Barry Odom's
UNLV?
8-2 at UNLV. If they win one more game, it's their most wins since 1984.
Randall Cunningham. I don't know if you guys watched any of the game Friday night, but
Randall Cunningham played at UNLV?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not.
Yeah. He was a starting quarterback and punter, but they continued. I watched that game Friday night against Wyoming, and they continued to show old Randall Cunningham footage.
Yeah, so it's UNLV and Air Force this week.
Yeah, and Air Force taking a water. They have not played well of late.
Winner is in the lead for the Mountain West, and then they'll play a championship game. Just thought that was interesting that Barry Odom's doing such a great job there, and ironically, Bobby Petrino was going to be his offensive coordinator, and they ended up. He ended up taking the Texas A&M job after he'd already taken the UNLV job. They had to go with some youngster who has developed a go-go offense that basically is a hybrid of the triple option.
Yeah, they were telling the story Friday night. It was pretty cool. And guess what? I was watching that game while sitting by my fire pit that Harbin's Outdoors
How convenient.
just installed this past week. Look, landscaping, hardscaping, fiberglass pools, Jeremy and his team, one-stop shop for all of your needs. They do it all from the install to the lighting, the final hardscapes around the pool, everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram at Harbins_Outdoors. See it for yourself, or call or text Jeremy directly, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718. At Harbins, you and your home are the center of all that they do. Call them today for all of your landscaping needs.
Pritch Law making it sound like I'm acting when I didn't know Randall Cunningham played at UNLV. That Dern away has reappeared. Dern.
Were you acting?
I didn't know Randall Cunningham had played in UNLV. It was a real thing.
Did, yeah.
He, as Lance mentioned, he was a punter there and punted that one time at Philadelphia. And I think it might still be their record punt. Their
Might be the NFL record. It was 90-something.
It was a
wasn't it?
90-yard punt because it rolled on that hard frozen
It
turf.
was just funny seeing him in his UNLV gear and how cheap the gear was back in the day.
Yeah, especially at a program like that, right? What's the name of their stadium out there?
Sam Boyd.
Sam Boyd, yeah. Who was a big casino guy.
Yeah,
was he really?
Yeah.
Is that
playing at the Raiders facility this
Yeah,
year.
yeah. They
where Jay Barker took the hardest hit of his career
at Sam Boyd?
in the XFL stadium when we were out there.
Yeah, I read a story about them playing at the Raiders facility and what I think it cost them $250,000 a game.
It looks cool, though.
I know,
Yeah.
but and they were like, everybody was sweating having to pay $250,000 a game, but more fans go because it's at that stadium.
Yeah, the crowd was not bad at all.
Yeah, pretty cool there for UNLV. Okay, here's the fact. Everyone always says it always works itself out, right? Chaos is coming.
Yep,
Chaos is coming.
It does.
26 years of the BCS and college football playoffs. This is year 27. 26 years of the BCS and college football playoffs. Never before have we finished 10 weeks with 5 unbeaten Power 5 teams. This is the first time ever that we've had 5 unbeaten Power 5 teams after Week 10 of college football. No chaos is coming this year, boys.
I love how you are reverse landmining this just to help your tide.
There's 26 years of stats here to show you that we've usually never got 5 unbeaten Power 5 teams at this point.
Will this be the most controversial left-out team of all time if Alabama wins the SEC and doesn't get in?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Well, it's going to be controversial either way because if they get in over Texas, there's going to be controversy that Texas beat them head-to-head.
Well,
head-to-head matters.
And what if you're Florida State and you're unbeaten?
Yeah.
If they get the win in Knoxville, will tie an Alabama record 28 consecutive SEC wins. So by that time, Georgia would have the all-time SEC win streak intact, and you beat that team, the two-time defending national champion, and you don't get in?
Well, I told Dunaway in the break, the closer we get to it, the more I did not think Alabama would jump Texas. The closer we get to it, the more I'm hearing of what you said earlier, and I agreed with. Texas is declining, Alabama is inclining, and their last image is going to be, if this does happen, their last image would be Alabama beating the undefeated number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hard to ignore that.
Well, they were only to LT's point, if they win on Saturday at Tennessee, as I expect them to do, that ties the 79 to 80, the 78 to 80 Alabama team and the 2015 to whatever Alabama team 2 times. Alabama's done it with 28. That ties it. Then they beat Georgia Tech. They're 29. So they're winningest SEC team of all time at that SEC championship game. That resonates a little bit.
Yeah, it's got to. And watching this weekend, Michigan and Georgia I would have in front, but I think Alabama would be my number 3 team right now. Watching Oregon this past weekend, I think Alabama would beat them. I think Ohio State might beat Oregon too.
Yeah.
But all those teams are really close.
Yeah. All that said, it is going either Georgia's going to beat Alabama, Texas is going to lose. It's going to work itself out. It always does.
We'll find out if it always does again on the 27th year of us doing the BCS and the college football playoff. 2 and then 4 teams. Next year it's 12, and maybe not this kind of debate. It is time for Trash, Rockstar. The big button is on your right hand. Ready, hit it.
Retired Army Lieutenant General Lieutenant. Oh, I'm scared. Well, Joel, are we having Hurtling joining us?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Buying a home, major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right who do mortgages the right way. Call today, 205-815-9200. More information, you can always go online, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Start first, North Carolina orthodontist is giving some patients a free Glock 19 with their dental treatment as part of a promotion called Grins and Glocks.
All right.
Now, Dr. Jason Gladwell.
I like it, Mike. I like it.
The owner of Gladwell Orthodontics says the promotion has gotten a lot more attention than he would have thought. Through the promotion, certain patients who sign up for the Invisalign treatment have the choice between the free Glock, which retails for more than $500, and a membership at the Youngsville Gun Club and Range.
Yeah. You know, this is really sad because they stole a similar campaign from the male strip club down the street.
Well, how's it go? Glocks and what? Rocks?
Not just anyone eligible for the promotion. According to this source, the gun club's owner says patients need to visit the club in order to actually receive the gun. You have to be 21 years and older, and they're going to do a background check. Attorney Ron Shook says promotion is perfectly legal. The most important thing is making sure the patient can legally own a gun.
That's important.
Nonetheless, some North Carolina residents are still concerned by the dentist's decision to partner with a gun club on such a promotion.
I got a gun today. Oh, and I'll get my teeth straight, too. That's a good day.
I had no cavities.
You know what I need with my
got
straight teeth? I need a Glock.
I own a Glock 17. It's a very, very good gun. FBI issue. That's what the feds use right there, the old Glock 17.
Is it one of those you can shoot like this?
That's
I can't if I get in trouble, Jim.
Older brother always carried a Glock 17.
Did he really? Is that
well, he
his
still
gun
got
choice?
it, but yeah, that was his.
It's a good, solid gun, man.
His weapon when he was on duty.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be the one I would,
Ruger.
my personal issue, the one I would keep in my sock that they never look for.
Glock 17's a little big for the sock.
Is it?
Yeah.
I got big socks.
Yeah, so you're going to need big socks.
Vast property and secluded nature resort, beloved by nudists, is now on the market for $32.8 million.
Wow.
Now, realtors
Los
describe
Gatos.
the 100...
Should Tammy be in the advertisement? Yeah. Just put her in. You think it's going to entice people? Yes, it's going to entice people.
This is Janis Joplin. She is not dead.
Tammy, you hide behind the sign. We'll take pictures.
Now, they say realtors describe the 112-acre Los Gatos property as a, quote, unique gem in the heart of the Bay Area, strategically positioned with the Silicon Valley, end quote. Now, it's located at 2600 Aldercroft Heights Road, nestled between hills above Lexington Reservoir. The property has been home to the Lupin Lodge Naturist and Nudist Resort for decades. Now, the lodge was founded during the Great Depression at a winery that closed down due to prohibition. Property's listing states Lupin was founded in 1935 by early followers of the nudist movement looking for remote, private locations long before the existence of Silicon Valley. Lupin Lodge has endured through economic upheaval, world wars, and wildfires. For the past 47 years, the Stout family operated the resort.
The Stout.
Now, they say Lupin's Lodge is a one-of-a-kind property, makes it a unique candidate for various development possibilities, including a retreat or conference center, a winery with a lodge, glamping eco-adventure resort, satellite campus for college or high-tech institution, a wellness retreat or center, and could even be horse and equestrian facility.
Yeah. I'd say let's do it. Let's flip it around.
This is one we haven't had on Trash before. We've got a Indian woman now faces battery charge after she reportedly hit a stranger over the head with a meat tenderizer.
I have a question real quick, Lance, before we get too deep in this story.
The same thing happened to the suspect. He could not describe what he got assaulted with, or by whom.
No. Is this the person? Is this the woman?
That's the woman that did the assault.
That was the question.
I think she was pissed off because her hairstylist assaulted her, right?
Well, I mean, that's if we want to start listing issues.
Faith Garrett, 56-year-old Richmond resident, was arrested last weekend and charged with one count of felony battery by means of a deadly weapon.
I hope she doesn't know her way to Lupin.
Now, the charge against Garrett stems from the incident on November 4th that resulted in a man in Richmond suffering multiple facial lacerations. While en route, police officers were told by 911 dispatchers the caller was hit in the head with a hammer by a, quote, unidentified male or female wearing black pants and a black windbreaker.
Male or female?
No, I can't tell.
I know.
Can you?
Let's leave the door open.
This is
male or female, yeah. Male or female.
Yes.
Now, officers then spoke with the victim who stated he was walking west on Northeast Street to his car when he saw a person following him. When he reached his car, the victim said he sat inside but did not shut the door. He said that a woman later identified as Garrett approached his vehicle and started yelling incoherently at him. After telling her to go away, the man said Garrett took out a black hammer from her jacket, hit him over the head one time. He then stood up and exited the car. Once out of the car, victim said Garrett struck him in the head with a meat tenderizer around 2 or 3 times in the same spot. Here'd be my question. If you pulled out a gun and you shot her dead, I guarantee he gets shit for that, doesn't he?
After she hit him with a hammer?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Shouldn't.
Well, she hit me with a hammer.
That should be deadly force. But
Well, yeah, a hammer could kill somebody. There was somebody in Saks when I was growing up.
Oh,
that was
yeah?
a dead shot right there that was killed with a ball peen hammer.
Yeah.
That's a small hammer.
I would think the meat tenderizer would do more than just a few lacerations.
Yeah, those spiky edges. Yes,
but it may not penetrate, but it could just crush your skull
No
and get
doubt.
into your brain.
It almost like tenderize it.
You ever seen what it does to a chicken breast?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if someone's literally hitting you with a hammer, you can shoot back.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I would
Yeah,
think
if I'm
you
on
could
the
take
jury,
deadly force,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, it's something you probably have to think about.
Yeah, this day and age, you don't know, but if I'm on the jury, I'm going to let you go with that one.
This one hurts. Australian porn star named Dana DeBello told followers on social media about a recent incident involving her giant pet snake that you see there and her male partner, on set partner.
Okay.
Now, she goes on to say, quote, I want to introduce you to Betty. She's my Centrillion carpet python. She's about 8 feet long. Never had an issue with her biting or anything until today. Now, DeBello and a pal had just filmed some sexy content together when things turned the other way, we'll say. She went on to say so earlier. I had a friend over. We shot a video. Once we finished doing that, he jumped in the shower. He did mention he wanted to hold my pet snake afterwards. Very strange. DeBello.
We call that tit for tat.
Came out of the shower, placed the snake around her friend's neck before heading to the bathroom. As she walked away, she was startled by what she described as a, quote, massive scream. I've turned around. I see that Betty is holding on to his private parts, and he's tried to pull her off of it.
That's a little stretchy. I wouldn't focus on pulling. I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, I don't know what you do.
Those jowls.
Yeah. Well, I
don't know what you do. Do you impale it with a knife?
You helicopter it.
Yeah.
Or does it have a reflex once you do that?
You look like you've done that before, Rockstar.
But they say after a few minutes, we got her off. I put her back into her enclosure, and there was blood everywhere. So we cleaned all that up. Now, after pulling the snake off his junk, she checked to make sure there were no little teeth left in it, because pythons sometimes leave their teeth in things that they bite.
Yeah. Just a little.
By the way, not the first time she's checked it.
They did interrogate the snake later and said, I didn't know. You were doing it, Mom. I thought I should too.
Oh, wow.
So we got more things old people say on Facebook. Rocky has these. So here we go.
We read them, right, Rockstar? You want me to go first?
Let me do this one.
All right, Jim.
It's in big letters.
It's huge.
Tom writes, what a great day. 65. Love it. Thank you, Jesus.
Amen.
Are you going to read the bottom?
Yeah, going to read the reply.
John goes, happy birthday, 65. You're getting younger every day. Tom, John, that is the temperature, not my age.
Wow. Kind of misleading, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of that's old. I mean, give me some punctuation.
Thank you, Jesus, for 65 degrees.
65 out. That's the temperature, not my age.
I'm glad I took the first one.
Elizabeth, 2 beds, 1 bathhouse. Good evening. Is this available? Yes, it is. Please leave me alone. We are sleeping. ? No more contacting, please. Thanks. Appreciate. You contacted me. I know. I'm no longer interested. Please stop contacting me now. I will contact Attorney General if you do not stop. Thanks.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. We're sleeping.
Yes.
It's online.
Wait, that's 8:07 a.m. when he writes that back.
Long night, Jimmy. This is from Facebook. Surely, if you abuse me one more time at the RSL, I will be calling CenturyLink and telling them that you and Steve are back together. I am fed up. Barrel.
Wow.
I mean, a lot there.
Fed up.
Literally, he's trying to hold her over a barrel.
Oh, my.
Oh,
I'll take this one.
You get another big one.
I'll take this one. Good to see you're still alive and kicking. Happy birthday, Bill. Question mark.
Question mark on the next line.
Bill passed away a couple of years ago, Gary. sad face emoji.
Oh, wow.
Hey, so when we were at dinner this weekend, we were at my daughter's school down at South Alabama. We were in a restaurant. They were playing Jimmy Buffett, and they were talking about apparently that people keep sending messages from Jimmy Buffett's Instagram, and they're like, it's just weird to me. He's dead. And I'm like, hey, why are y'all paying attention to Jimmy Buffett's Instagram? And they're like, we're not. It's just a story.
Still got to get those ads in.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what I said. I said he's probably his family.
Marketing.
Yeah, his family's making money off that, I'm sure.
Oh, next one. Picture of young baby, grandpa. Okay.
Some group text to the whole family. We just got our newborn. Grandpa just says, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
When's lunch?
We've done this before, y'all.
Yeah, got a lot of
Nobody
crap.
gets excited.
Here's from Facebook. What's that Christmas song? Be like the least knobby dot. It's a Spanish song. The least knobby dot.
The least knobby dot. Hey, my daughter Kimberly is bringing her college roommate Megan home for Thanksgiving. They were roommates in college in 2009 and have been roommates ever since. Friendship is such a blessing. Eva writes, Kimberly is a lesbian.
No, they're just good friends.
I hate to break it to you.
My daughter Kimberly is bringing home her college roommate.
This is from Musica. I am a Chinese grandmother, 87 age. I love Western rock musical. Make me happiness.
Little cashmere girl. Little cashmere girl.
Nothing's happier than cashmere.
Spooky monkey.
Spooky monkey. Make me happiness.
That's it.
Oh, that is
good.
Old People on Social Media, brought to you by Rockstar and our friends at Mortgage Right.
Eva Kimberly is a lesbian.
Yeah, our friends at Mortgage Right want to know if you're a veteran looking for a VA loan. Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available and guide you through every step of the process. As a veteran-owned, operated company, they understand the difference between working with someone who gets it and someone who doesn't. They've made it their mission to simplify the VA loan process. Visit their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply. MortgageRight.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Champy'sChicken.com as well, right there at Champy's on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling, you'll see his picture in a second. Right there, boom, on cue. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, wonderful southern fried chicken, cooked to order, hand-cut chicken fingers, and so much more. The sides, the drinks, nighttime, you can go there. Get it for your tailgate as well. Order it for the holidays. Enjoy watching football or basketball with it. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store. DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest. Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Card for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Hey, don't forget overtime is coming up at 12 noon. We'll hear from Nick Saban coming off the win at Kentucky, Chattanooga, and everything else he'll talk about. And after that, Hugh Freeze coming off the massive win in Fayetteville. Tricky New Mexico State team coming to town.
You know, that line was smaller than you would think for one of these weeks. I still think it was 20-something, I think, Lance, is what it is.
I've been telling you guys,
MyBookie.ag.
Isn't this Jerry Kill's team having the best year in New Mexico State in a long, long time?
Yeah.
Is this his team? I think they're like 6-3, 7-3, 6-4. So they're bowl eligible coming in.
I remember looking at the line thinking, normally you get a bigger line in these weekends than this one. So that it is 22. I mean, it's still a significant, you're a 3-touchdown favorite, but normally this is when you're playing at Chattanooga, where if there were a line, Alabama would be a 50-point favorite,
Yeah,
right?
probably.
You know, so I mean, that's what you're used to in these type of situations.
So we'll hear from those coming up in overtime. Show being brought to you by our friends at Hydra Live. Perfect way to come back down from a big weekend. Hydra Life.
Yeah, IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. Open 7 days a week. New location in Greystone. One in Homewood, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you can't make it to Hydra Life, not a problem. Hydra Life can actually send a nurse to your office or home. Go online, hydralifetherapy.com. Make sure you mention Next Round at checkout. You're going to save 20% off any of those great services. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at hydralifetherapy.com. Get in. Tell them the Next Round sent you. It's Hydra Life Therapy.
We should also, during overtime, get the announcement of rivalry weekend kick times. We still don't technically have an Iron Bowl kick time.
We don't, yeah.
I mean, everybody's assuming 2:30 CBS, but we do not know that for a fact.
I don't know if we know that for a fact, and that will be, the SEC championship will be the last game on CBS.
That's right.
And that'll be the next to last one coming up. Storyline in just a second, but before everyone gives us their storyline, I did want to point out we've got Monday Night Football tonight, Broncos and Bills. We're going to be at Beef O'Brady's over on the Grove in Hoover, just off the same exit you get off on for the Hoover Met. Beef O'Brady's will be out there 5 o'clock to 6-ish. So come hang out there with our friends at Beef O'Brady's and Bud Light. Should be a lot of fun. Chaos could be coming in college football if nobody loses at the top. But some head-to-head matchups down the road, including another rematch likely of Oregon and Washington. Didn't talk a ton about that game. Those two games, Washington and Oregon, I thought both of them had a chance to win by bigger gaps than they ended up to. It ended up being two competitive games. I was shocked that Utah scored 28 points in the first half on Washington.
Yeah, the Washington's defense has not been playing well for 3 games now.
Yeah, I think Penix Jr. is probably your Heisman winner right now. I know Bo is right there. But some of the throws Penix has to make for that team to stay in games, I'm not taking anything away from Bo at all. I mean, he's still got a good chance of winning this thing, and we'll see it head-to-head more than likely again. But I don't think Washington is playing great right now. I wasn't overly impressed with Oregon. There was an early 4th down that Oregon went for it. I didn't think I know they didn't get it. Then they called an offsides on USC. And the very next play, they hit it for a touchdown. And they never went back and showed that. And I didn't see the offsides. And, I don't know what happened there. I'm not going to be surprised at all if Oregon and Washington State both get the benefit of calls down the stretch, because the Pac-12 in their last year, they want to see somebody get to a college football playoff.
Interesting.
You said Mississippi State. Did you have a friend that was telling you about maybe a candidate for Mississippi State?
No. I saw some speculation, and I was curious if you guys would consider this if you're State. The most success you've had in really your modern history was with Dan Mullen.
Right.
Who is currently a television analyst. Some bad blood when he left there. Do you swallow your pride and go back after Dan Mullen? A guy that is not known. I mean, Kirby Smart point blank called him out for not liking to recruit just the other day. Kirby did that.
Do you think Dan would even be interested?
Why would he not?
I don't know.
I mean, he's a TV analyst. If the guy wants to coach again, he's an SEC head coach again.
That is one of my least favorite studio shows.
I don't disagree with you. I don't really watch a whole lot of studio shows, but he also does the Thursday night.
But, like halftime in game, they went to Mullen, Joey Galloway.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Matt Berry.
I do not watch the studio shows in football, in college football especially. So you don't think Mullen would do it?
It's hard. Life's too short to go back down the same roads.
Put that on the
You go home every day.
Yeah, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means.
I mean, like if we decided we got tired of doing it like this and wanted to do radio when we're old.
it's not getting tired of doing it like this. It's like if this ended.
If that's your best option.
If it's your best option. Radio's by far and away not our best option.
I just feel like we would go do it somewhere else, wouldn't we? We'd go back to the same place.
In another market?
No.
That would not make any sense at all.
We'd just build our own radio station somewhere.
Yeah, that's easy.
What the hell are you talking about? I mean,
we'd go back to Mississippi State and do our radio show?
Yes. It's where I had success. Why would you be? What
you said it's an NFL job?
I know. I don't know what you're talking about. Today. Are you back on the pain meds?
No.
You argued.
You did just say it was an unbelievable
you said it was
job.
taking an NFL. No. You said
I'm talking about the radio part.
Okay, no. Let's forget that.
Old employer?
That made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, we're going back to our old employer. We would do that if we had to go to radio. That's where we'd go.
If it's your best option,
would that be our? I've done that. I left from there.
I think you've gotten lost in this analogy here.
No, he left from there. He chose to leave from there.
But
why would he go back?
He's not coaching. He's an analyst in a studio.
Oh, I wouldn't go back.
Why?
I don't know. I just wouldn't go back. I left there.
So you would go coach at a lesser program just because you left Mississippi State?
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a divorce, remarrying that person, and it actually is better?
That's never made sense to me.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me necessarily, but I've seen it work out for people.
Do you think Dan Mullen will coach again?
I really don't, but if he does...
He'll coach where?
I don't know.
Somewhere worse than Mississippi State.
Well, you guys make it sound like Mississippi State. There's no place worse than Mississippi State.
Jim,
Y'all name
you've got a lot of state friends, so you like to argue for State. No. It is the next to last job in the SEC. You cannot argue against it.
No, I was going back to y'all named 12 Big 12 jobs. And I know there's more teams there than 12 now.
No, I think there was 8 that were 100% better and 4 that were ranked in the same
I stand by those, and Dan Mullen's not getting any of those jobs. If those
I
jobs
think it's
come open.
You've always said this: when guys are on ESPN, they seem smarter. They seem like a good hire. I think it's gone the opposite for Dan Mullen.
They seem dumber.
Yeah,
it does not. I think he's a pretty good analyst and probably makes okay money.
Here's why I thought when I asked the question, I thought you were going to debate would State do it, not would Dan do it.
I don't think State would do it either.
And here's why I wouldn't do it if I were State. I look back
like
on
him
that.
When he was there.
I look back on that and I say, yes, he gave us the greatest success we've ever had, but he also happened to get a generational quarterback that did it. I mean, Dak Prescott is a generational quarterback at Mississippi State. And without that, what are they? And what are the odds he's going to do that again?
He did seem to always have good quarterbacks until he got to Florida.
Yeah.
That was weird, wasn't it? Because he had Fitzgerald, too. What was Fitzgerald's first name?
Nick Fitzgerald.
Nick Fitzgerald. I mean, he was a pretty good quarterback. Yeah.
Got to do our spotlight today. It's brought to you by our friends at Gutter Cap. Hit it, Rockstar.
The College Football Spotlight. College football's biggest storylines.
Tell us about Gutter Cap, LT.
205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. Leaves continue to fall. The last thing you want to do after working a hard day is get on the roof and clean the dirty, dangerous leaves out. You slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. You're no good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. Call Chris Stewart. He will come out and give you an absolutely free estimate. You'll never have to clean those gutters again. It's been in business more than 20 years. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
Everybody's talking about, my storyline, everyone's talking about Alabama, Georgia in the SEC championship. That game is booked now. Georgia with Tennessee and Georgia Tech. I think both of those will be easy wins. Alabama, Auburn, all of a sudden, looks totally different. LT, if I asked you, point spread right now at the Iron Bowl, it would be...
I would list Alabama as an 11-point favorite.
11-point favorite. Did you think at any point this season that would be 11?
No. And I put in a solid 6 to 7 for home field. And that atmosphere will be so fired up because they're going to be rolling in with the 7 wins, chance to get to 8, and not only get to 8, but eliminate Alabama from contention. And that place, we know how the ball bounces sometimes. It's going to be loud. They are going to go nuts. It's Hugh Freeze's first ever Iron Bowl. This is a guy that has had success against Nick Saban. Peyton Thorne is playing with confidence right now. And I don't think it was a fluke what they did to Arkansas this past week. And I think Alabama's playing like an elite team, but I think Auburn's playing like a good team right now.
What's your storyline?
My storyline is going to be elite-like paid coaches that will never get over the hump. Jimbo Fisher, you don't have to worry about it. He gone. Lane Kiffin, complete embarrassment. And I know we went in saying, hey, look, we're playing with house money. We got nothing to lose. Well, you got your ass kicked.
But they're about to be 10-2.
Well, he still got a whip.
Still, I mean, there's two teams on that schedule that are elite of the SEC. You're getting paid elite money. James Franklin, another one of these guys getting paid elite money, now 3-17 against top 10 teams. So there's a lot of coaches. And out there, Lincoln Riley in the mix. He's been to college football playoffs. But, man, the way they're losing games right now and losing 4 or 5, and to get $10 million plus, I don't know.
What's your storyline, Brown?
My storyline is the impending chaos that you don't think is going to happen, Jim.
Brown, how many times in 26 years have we had 5 or more Power 5 unbeaten teams after Week 10?
How many times
0.
have we gotten to the Sunday of the college football playoff selection and been like, why do we even need 4 teams? 2 are obvious. I don't even know if we're going to find a 4th team. Who's the 4th team going to be? It's what we always do. Texas is about to lose. Washington is about to lose. Florida State also is going to lose. Either Michigan or Ohio State is going to lose. And Alabama or Georgia is going to lose. One of those two. All those things are about to happen. You're not going to have to – nobody's got to worry about somebody jumping somebody. It's going to be complete chaos over these next 3 weeks.
I agree with you. I think it will be. I think we're really close this weekend.
Well, we've been close for 3 weeks, and it hasn't happened.
Well, you're close a lot.
It's a crappy schedule this week.
I just think there's such a fine line between these teams right now, and it's got to flip the other way on some of these really close games where the better team will lose some of these games.
I'll take Chattanooga, Alabama, and I'll take UNA and Florida State off the board. Here are the other playoff contenders: Michigan and Maryland. Maryland wins? Anybody?
I don't think so, but I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that is a shocking result.
I don't think Maryland wins, but I'm with Lance. I mean, I've seen
bigger
crazier.
upsets.
Yeah.
Would be shocking.
Okay.
Georgia, Tennessee, and Knoxville.
No, I'm not going to be surprised.
I mean,
I think Georgia's.
Here's what's weird about this. If Georgia had blasted Missouri, I'd like them less. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but the fact that they got blasted by Missouri actually makes me like them a little bit.
Yeah, and
more
this
in
will be Tennessee, much like Auburn in the Iron Bowl against Alabama. Tennessee's fans will come for this one.
Okay, got 15 seconds on these. Oregon, Arizona State.
I don't see that one.
No, Arizona State did beat UCLA, though, this weekend.
Minnesota, Ohio State.
No.
Washington at Oregon.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
it's happening.
Yes.
Texas at Iowa
Yes,
State.
yes.
So it's a 2 nighttime games.
Yeah, that's right. That's where
Nighttime
chaos happens. When does chaos happen during the day, Jim?
Never. Chaos comes out at night. It's nocturnal. All right, we got overtime coming up. That's this show. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. Now, top of the hour, we're awaiting Nick Saban's news conference as we go overtime here, brought to you by what LT has on. A little Rowback gear there, rowback.com. Use the promo code TNR20 to get 20% off all the great gear, the hoodies, the golf shirt, wonderful pants, and so much more. It's rowback.com, rowback.com. Promo code TNR20, 20% off your first purchase. You can go to nextround.store or to whoiscoffee.com and check out our next round blend coffee, TNR20, the same promo code there, TNR20, gets you 20% off the coffee blends right there, including our own flavor. Again, whoiscoffee.com, whoiscoffee.com, or just go to the link at nextround.store, nextround.store, and get 20% off with the promo code TNR20 this holiday season. All right, Brownie, big outing again for Jalen Milroe this past week. 10 touchdowns in his last 2 games as Alabama's quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he has set records at Alabama back-to-back weeks, became the first Alabama quarterback ever to rush for 4 touchdowns in a single game, and then this week became the first Alabama touchdown ever to rush for 3 and throw for 3 in the same game. So when you're setting records in back-to-back weeks, that shows you the level of play he's playing right now.
And I think when you look at the Kentucky game plan, Mark Stoops was all about trying to stop him, and you saw safeties creep up. So even without the injury where you kind of in-game flipped everything being Tommy Rees, he was beating him with his arm. And so for him to be able to what he's done in back-to-back games, Jalen Milroe is showing he is becoming a borderline elite quarterback right now. The offensive line is playing with a ton of confidence. You mentioned this earlier. They gave up 0 sacks on the road to a pretty good Kentucky defense.
He did. Brownie, you've got kick times?
I got kick times. As expected, the Iron Bowl is going to be a 2:30 SEC kick. That is official now. Iron Bowl 2:30 SEC kick on CBS. Straight out of game day, A&M at LSU, 11 o'clock Central, right out of game day. Vandy at Tennessee, also 2:30, but SEC Network for that one. Under the lights in Gainesville, Florida State at Florida, 6 o'clock ESPN kick. Under the lights in Atlanta, 6:30 ABC kick for Georgia at Georgia Tech. Under the lights in Columbia, 6:30 kick for Clemson at South Carolina. And they have put a 6-day hold on Kentucky at Louisville. So we will not know that until Sunday. That is an ABC game because it is at Louisville. So ABC has a 6-day hold on that one.
ESPN, right?
ABC/ESPN, yeah. In case you wonder about the actual start times, the Thanksgiving night game, standard 6:30 start time for the Egg Bowl. And the Black Friday, Missouri at Arkansas game, a 3 o'clock Central Time kick on SEC for that one. But the Iron Bowl at 2:30 as expected.
Do you think Sam Pittman will be coaching in that game?
I think they'll let him finish the year, yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But you don't think he survives
I don't
the
think Sam
offseason?
Pittman survives.
I don't know. I mean, if you're Arkansas now, another fear you've got is all these other jobs are coming open.
Yeah, in fact, right now the news conference is going on in Starkville where they have named Greg Knox, who is the senior offensive analyst, who's going to come in and serve as the interim head coach.
That guy has coached everywhere the SEC has, isn't he?
So he's going to oversee the duties and allow the offensive and defensive coordinators to continue to do their job. And here's Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa as we continue with overtime now. Let's go to T-Town and listen in.
Obviously, this was a, great win for us, really good for our team to come out, start fast in the game, play fast, obviously ready to play. So I think the big point of emphasis that, we'd like to make moving forward is we still got to stay focused on execution. It's not just about making plays. And most of the issues that we have in games, offense, defense, doesn't really matter, come down to are we communicating and is everybody on the same page? And when we do that, we seem to have really good results. And sometimes when we don't, we give up plays that we probably shouldn't, give up. So, that's going to be the big point of emphasis in watching the film today with the players is to get them to really sort of focus on the importance of communicating and everybody being on the same page, whether two are blocking up front, how we're covering and adjusting the motions, in secondary, whatever, so that we get on the same page. Chattanooga obviously has had a really good season. The players, play hard to compete well. Rusty Wright has done, a really good job there. I think they're like second in their league, 7-3, only lost 2 games in their league. So one of the most productive offensive teams. They've got a good quarterback. They've got good receivers. They run the ball with good balance. They're really well coached. Defensively, this guy Jay Pearson is, got lots of sacks and lots of tackles for losses, and these guys play hard. And like always, this is a great opportunity for these guys to play, in a game that they probably dream about. For our team, this is either a game that you focus on correctly, you go out and practice and prepare correctly, and you build on, the momentum that you've improved with over the last weeks. And that helps you get better for what's coming up in the future. So if you don't do that, you don't have a good showing. You sort of lose your rhythm. And, rhythm is a little bit like momentum. Sometimes you lose momentum in the game, it's hard to get it back. So you got to always play the next play and keep answering the bell. And, that's really kind of how we need to approach, this game in terms of, what our focus is and how we want to continue to improve as a team. If you're going to peak at the right time, you can't have peaks and valleys. You got to keep going in the right direction, and that's what we want to get our players to focus on this week in practice in preparation for this game.
Yeah, Terrion mentioned that every team could use a Miss Terry, and she's helped with motivating and just staying locked in. I mean, how does she help the team during the season in terms of what she does to motivate players?
Well, her and Terrion are really kind of buddies. So I know she sort of texts with him and all that, and you know, I kind of get on him. So it's just like kind of raising your children. You know, I'm the guy that's always trying to get them to do right, and she's the mama who's always trying to make them happy. So that's the way it's been for a long time.
Hey, Coach. A guy like Chris Braswell seemed to steadily improve over the course of his career. Where have you seen him grow the most since he got on campus?
You know, Braz is a really good competitor, hard worker, really works hard in practice to get it right. I think a lot of guys that play outside backer for us, you know, when they come here, they don't have a lot of background and experience in standing up and playing. You know, a lot of them play with their hand in the dirt, you know, in high school. So the whole idea of standing up and playing, dropping some, how do you rush off the edge, you know, when you're standing up rather than down in a three-point stance. So, and I also think that opens up a whole panorama of knowledge of the game, you know, coverages and things like that. So, and I would say that Braz has certainly improved physically because of how committed he is to being a good player. But I think from a mental standpoint, that's where he's really sort of has a much, much better understanding of all the things you need to do to play that position.
Middle with Matt.
After looking at the tape, what do you think of how your offensive line played against Kentucky?
They played really well. You know, I think Kentucky's big up front. We talked about trying to be the most physical team. I think they did a good job of that. I think we ran the ball better in the second half than in the first. And some of that was just how were they playing. But I was really pleased, especially in the second half, with how we controlled the line of scrimmage. I think for the most part, the pass protection was a little better. And we want to continue to improve in all those areas.
Hey, Coach. Can you talk about the gauntlet of this SEC schedule? You guys are 7-0 up to this point, and then kind of a follow-up. How have you seen this team transform from week 2 up to this point in time?
Yeah, well, you know, we talked about a lot how this team has been able to show great resiliency and perseverance to, you know, really stick with it. They want to be good, so they want to be coached. They've stayed focused on what we need to do to continue to get better, and I think by doing that, the confidence has built, the respect and trust has built, which helps confidence. And I think, you know, we got a lot of guys that are playing really good football now. So, and we had a lot of guys that really stepped up in this last game and played well, like a receiver. I mean, we had 2 receivers out. These guys played really, really well. I mean, the receiver group. In fact, I think you probably got that we took the whole group and said, you guys are the players of the game. You know, we had a couple guys that had to step up on defense with some starters missing. So, but it just seems like whether it's been on special teams or however it's been, you know, every guy's kind of all in to trying to do what they can do to help the team, and the leadership has been good, and the transformation has shown in terms of, you know, how we've been able to execute and play week in and week out.
Go front with Chase.
You mentioned on your radio show a couple weeks ago that Braswell is a good leader in his own quiet way. Besides Chris, who are a couple of guys who lead well by example but maybe aren't necessarily vocal about it?
Right. Tim Keenan's a good leader up front. I think, you know, Devontae Lawson is a really good leader at linebacker. Dallas is a good leader at outside backer. Malachi's a good leader, you know, in the secondary. So, you know, we have some guys at each position that, you know, set a pretty good example in terms of how you need to prepare for a game, how you need to try to practice. And, you know, Braz is one of those guys as well. And he's on the leadership because of the example that he sets and how he goes about what he does.
Katie on the left. Oh, you're good? Okay. Tony right there. Did you have one? You did. Okay. Ryan, I thought they told me you had one.
Coach, with Senior Day this week, what does it say in a world of the transfer portal and NIL, and especially a program like Alabama? If you don't play maybe your freshman year, a lot of guys want to leave. I'm not just talking about your program, but a lot of programs. What does it say about like a Chris Braswell or a Roy Dell that stuck through and really built value for themselves for the next level?
Well, I think there's a lot of examples of guys that have done that probably in a lot of programs, but, I'm just here to speak about our program. But, a guy like Mac Jones who, didn't play until his fourth year and played very well when he did and developed. So I think it speaks volumes of their commitment to the program and seeing that if they do the right things, they're going to have success. We've had guys here that, do very well in the pros, even though in the NFL, even though they've had maybe not a significant role their entire career here, but played well at some point in time, and that gave them an opportunity. I think that, one of the big things that we try to get guys to understand is we have good players on our team, so you're going to have a better chance to develop because the competition in practice is actually going to be beneficial to your development. And I think that if guys can stay focused on long term in terms of what they're trying to develop and improve. We've had all these freshmen who want to play as freshmen. And we've had, I don't know, you can count them up. How many guys have gone out early for the draft? So if it's 45 guys, I don't know if that's the right number or not. I've had 32 phone calls times 45, whatever that number is, in the thousands, right? I've never been asked once how much a guy played as a freshman. Never. Not once. Everybody wants to know, what did you develop into? But yet, the whole mindset is, if I don't play right away, but that expectation gets created by a lot of external factors too. Not to put any of the blame on you all or anybody that says a guy's a 5-star and he should make this immediate impact and all this stuff. So that becomes the expectation. So when it doesn't happen, guy's frustrated. I get that. I understand that. We got to try to get guys to be able to stay focused on what they have to do to develop as players, make improvement so that when they do play, they create value for themselves rather than worrying about just playing. But if you go out there and you don't play well, what kind of value are you creating for yourself? And what kind of confidence are you building? So all these things are things that we really try to emphasize with our young players, and the guys that buy into that, they end up doing pretty well.
You competed against both Jimbo and Zach Arnett this year. Just what was your reaction to the news of their firings?
The Mississippi State's coach and Texas A&M, the reaction to those guys getting let go.
I don't ever like to see anybody get let go, whatever we want to call it, in this business. I know how hard everybody works. I know how difficult it is to sort of build, a program, to get players to compete at a high level on a consistent basis, and just have a lot of respect for people who really work hard to try to change the lives of, the guys that they're coaching, make them better people, help them do the right things in terms of getting an education as well as trying to develop them on the football field. But, we are in a business that you get evaluated based on outcomes and your performance, and I hate to see anybody have to go through this. I've been fired before. It's no fun. It's no fun for your family, but I'm sure that both those guys have great reputations in terms of what they've been able to accomplish over the course of their career, and I'm sure they'll have many more opportunities to be successful in the future.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That's Alabama head coach Nick Saban there addressing the firing of Jimbo Fisher on Sunday and Zach Arnett earlier today at Mississippi State. In fact, they just wrapped up the Mississippi State news conference over in Starkville where they explained what was going to happen. Greg Knox is going to replace as the interim until they have a new head coach, as the search is on at those two locations now. Auburn went through this last year from Halloween on, the coaching search. They found Hugh Freeze, who all of a sudden is on a winning streak with New Mexico State at home, and then Alabama coming to town. We'll hear from the coach at Auburn in just a second. A reminder that Bud Light tonight, we're out there at Beef O'Brady's for a Monday Night Football NFL show. We'll be there from 5 until 6-ish. That's Beef O'Brady's in Hoover at the Grove, just off the 150 exit there in Hoover. Come hang out with us tonight. And Bud Light game night is Thursday at Top Golf downtown. This is always Overtime, brought to you by Roback.com. Roback.com. You can use the promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your first purchase there at Roback.com. And again, the holidays are here. What's better than great coffee? Then the Next Round blend of coffee. Go to nextround.store, nextround.store, or to whoiscoffee.com, whoiscoffee.com. Either place, use the promo code TNR20 there, and you get 20% off your coffee purchase. Let's hear from the Auburn head coach, Hugh Freeze, as they get ready for New Mexico State, then Alabama, and talking about the heater they're on right now.
Things from Saturday that we're happy with, and obviously always something to improve, but to go on the road and win in dominating fashion. I think the most glaring thing that we were most pleased with is I thought we dominated the trenches on both sides, offensive line and defensive line, and usually that's a good sign in a game. And love the energy that our kids and staff brought and the way they jumped out, and I thought we played fast and started fast, and that was good to see. So good to be bowl eligible for sure, and we're excited about representing Auburn wherever that is. But we have more work to do, and it starts this week with our return to Jordan-Hare and playing what I think is one of the better Group of 5 teams. They've gotten better and better and better as the year has progressed. I know Jerry killed it really well. He is one heck of a ball coach, and he'll have his guys ready, and they've continued to improve as the years went on, and they're a very talented team and play extremely hard. So we're going to need Jordan-Hare to be at his best, and we need to keep the momentum going. So it's going to be we'll be faced with some of the normal challenges of wanting to rest on last week and all of those things that come with as temptations, and we'll have to fight against that. And so the leadership of the team I'm going to ask them to help me with that.
Coach, talk about the play of the receivers. Is the mic on? Yeah, talk about the play of the receivers. It looks like VAR, is getting better and better.
Yeah, I think VAR is constantly improved ever since he came back from injury, and he's somebody that we've got to, he's got to figure into the passing game for sure. He and Jay, I've said it since I got here, that I thought those were two of the more talented guys that we've had. And we've improved some other places, but we still got a ways to go. We still are inconsistent in that room some, but we definitely have improved, and VAR is certainly part of that.
When you look back in your coaching career and in games where you go on the road and you have a dominating performance like you did, where do you put that in your rankings, where you go on the road in the conference and you have control for pretty much the entire game?
Yeah, that doesn't happen much in this conference. I honestly don't remember one in this conference. We had a few at Liberty and maybe one at Arkansas State, but don't remember going on the road in this conference and it going quite like it did for us Saturday. I mean, that was, it's the first time that Auburn's held an SEC opponents to 15 or fewer points in 3 straight games since 2016. I mean, most rushing yards by an SEC team in the league game this season. So there was some, you look at those two deals, if you're rushing the ball in league play and you're holding, for 354, whatever we did Saturday, and then our defense is holding them to 15 or fewer points, we've got a good chance to win. But to answer your question, I don't remember one quite like that.
Could you get 3 conference victories in a row? You had a good week in recruiting. Do you starting to feel the momentum build within this building and around this community when it comes to this program?
Yeah, you can't help but when you win some games and you're getting quality recruits. I mean, I think that's cause to say you have momentum, but but you had the job and the chore is to continue that because we stump our toe this week and. It's easy to say the momentum would be shifted the other way, and everyone that's praising you right now would not be praising you. So it's, momentum is an everyday thing. I firmly believe in life you're either winning or learning. And I think that's a choice. You can also choose losing. But one thing's for sure, you better get to choosing, or life has a way of choosing for you, and that's kind of going to be my message to our team this week. But when we're in a 4-game losing streak, that should be, you're obviously not winning, so it should be the learning time. But I don't like to wallow in that very long. I want to get out, and luckily our kids did too. But the only way you truly ever lose, I think, is when you just choose that. Because every experience that we have, you can choose to learn from and make yourself better. And that's what I hope we'll do this week is learn, why did we play well? Why are we getting better? We better not forget those things. There's still some learning to do.
Yeah, Hugh, with this offensive renaissance you got going on, what is the most satisfying part of that improvement for you?
That's a big word.
Yeah, exciting, huh?
Well, it's really good just to see our kids play with confidence. I don't think you can be very good at anything if you don't have some confidence in what you're doing. And, they seem to be a confident group right now that's excited about another opportunity. And, I don't mean for this to sound anyway, but we could have put up a lot of numbers the other day, I think. And, they were good, but, we really started milking that clock about halfway through the third quarter and didn't throw it. And so, I really wish I could have gotten hold of some throws in there, but you just want to handle things the right way, too, when you do get those opportunities, because I've been on the other side of that, too. But I do think our kids are starting to believe in something and believe that we can, score some points, and they're playing this, with some confidence.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Pavia. You faced him last year at Liberty. He's pretty talented.
Very talented quarterback, extremely tough and mobile. He's a handful for sure, and they're using him in a lot of ways and a lot of motions and shifts and formations, and they've got a really good plan, and he can make a lot of things happen with his feet.
Yes, how's just the injury update on your team? How's the player?
I think we're okay. Nothing. There's some. Anytime you play a game, there's some things that pop up, but nothing that has ruled anybody out at this point. So, feel pretty fortunate.
You talked about confidence. Peyton is a guy that has made a couple of mistakes that might have derailed guys, but he just kind of keeps coming. How valuable is that as a quarterback, that he has that next play mentality and just kind of continues to let it go?
Quarterbacks, they better have that, and he does have it, and he's able to handle me and lets me rant a little bit, and without it destroying him. And I've got to be careful with that with some probably, but he. All the good ones I've had, I've told him this is what's going to happen at times, and he's mature enough to handle it, and we can move on. I think, it's obviously glaring when he's made a mistake at quarterback, and I think he's one of the reasons though that I think he handles is the few mistakes he's made. He knows better, and I guess that's why it upsets me sometimes. But man, he is a no excuse guy, and I'll play the next play guy, and it shows.
Hugh, it was around this time last year, I think, after Arkansas, you were asked about it at New Mexico State, where we started hearing your name a little bit more with the Auburn job. What do you remember about this time last year when you're obviously in the thick of that and you're also balancing, a team that you are coaching during the season as well?
Extremely, extremely difficult to manage. I can't explain how hard it is. You are trying hard. We genuinely, listen, the Liberty people were so incredible to me, and I think we did good things for Liberty too. We beat a bunch of Power Fives there and ranked in the top 25 a couple years, won 3 bowl games, went to 4. I didn't get to coach the last one, and man, you realize that you might be getting this opportunity, and the truth is, you really don't know what's going to happen with the job searches. I've been around this long enough to know you really don't know. And so you don't know what to tell the people that are so good to you. And the good thing is I had a great relationship with our AD there, and I was very transparent with him along the journey. But it makes it very difficult because you realize you might be getting another opportunity at a place like Auburn based on how those young men and staff and everybody else have performed. And you realize there's going to be a lot of hurt involved, and in particular that last few days when you don't know what to say. You don't know if you're Auburn's choice or if you're, because I truthfully wasn't out hunting a job. I was very content and very happy at Liberty, and you're trying everything in the world to manage it the right way, but what is the right way? And I actually was thinking about that this morning for some of the, you heard for all these families that are going to be displaced. We all sign up for it, so we get it, but I also thought about all the names that would start being floated around and the challenge that it is, because I just experienced it here recently. But I don't know what the right thing is to do, because you're trying to protect your relationship with those young men and the school that's been so good to you. While, you can't help but want to listen to an opportunity like at Auburn in the SEC. There's not many of those jobs, and I don't know if I've answered your question, but it is just extremely, extremely difficult to manage, and that last 24 hours was rough.
Rivaldo has had touchdown last week against Vandy, 2 against Arkansas. I think all 3 of the touchdowns he's lined up at a different spot, tight end, big slot, out to the outside. Just how much of a weapon has he been for y'all on offense? Because you have a guy that you can move around and make plays for you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, he's important to us, and I love our tight end room. I've said that. I think Tyler Fromm can do a lot of those things too, and it's good to see all of them kind of get some touches the other day. And they're all, we stayed in 12 personnel a big portion of that game. And that allows us to line up Rivaldo a lot of different places so that it might be more difficult for their matchups on him. But that's something we think is important to us, is getting him moved around a decent amount.
Talked a bit about just maintaining momentum, not resting on last week. You're at a point in the season where you have Alabama looming, just have this winning streak going. How do you do that without, looking too far ahead into the future?
It's going to test our maturity. We'll talk about it today in our team meeting, and that'll be my message is we won't talk about the other team that you mentioned. We'll talk about the one we have right on in front of us that can sting us, and I've experienced that before. And we need to continue getting better. We still have a lot of things we can improve on. And so that will be the challenge, and the message is, how will we choose to handle this week? And starts with today, and then Tuesday. There's a reason we've had some success. There's a lot of factors that go into having success, but one of them is the way they've approached work on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, so we better not change that.
We've seen DJ really stick out the past couple of weeks. Do you recall how much, I guess, convincing it took for
I'm sorry, DJ James. Oh.
To get DJ and Nehemiah back, and what have they meant this season?
I think DJ's improved, and Nehemiah's played 2 really solid games. The other, Ken Lee and Tyler Scott came in, 2 freshmen, and played solid also. But those 2 seniors, I mean, you know, to have that experience, and not just experience, but experience and talent is, and I've seen them mature and handle more of the leadership role and more accountable to the little things, and that's rewarding to see.
You've talked a lot of confidence about the offense, but kind of piggybacking on the defense. I mean, they're playing with some of the utmost confidence as they lead the SEC in red zone defense, and they're forcing the most turnovers in the conference as well. Is there a particular player or a group on that defensive side of the ball that has the most confidence and maybe the most vocal in practice and during games?
Well, I think of Marcus Harris as the most vocal leader, and Keontae Scott. Those 2 guys, you know, are the most vocal leaders, but the others are playing with a great amount of confidence. I think you're just now seeing what Jalen McLeod, what we saw at the beginning of fall camp. Truthfully, it's taken him this long to get over that high ankle sprain. I think the last few weeks you watch practice and you're like, he's getting close to 100% now. And congratulations to him. I think he's going to be named SEC Defensive Player something. Defensive Player of the Week, and Keontae Scott, special teams. So we've the congratulations to both of those. But I think Marcus and Keontae, you know, are the most vocal leaders. But it takes all. Zion Puckett's an incredible leader. He doesn't talk as much as they do, but he's all about the right things and doing the right things and practicing the right way. So is Elijah. He's a vocal leader. But, man, I've just continued to see them, you know, improve over there for sure, and leadership is part of it.
You talked about running game and in the tight end group, but how much has the perimeter blocking on offense improved over the course of the last 3 or 4 games that's helped to kind of spring some of that running game too?
We still have a ways to go. There's some yards left out there because of that, but we have improved it. Other than the Vandy game was not good for perimeter blocking for us. But the others, we've done a decent job, and that was probably our best down the field. People being aggressive and finishing and being a part, playing without the ball. I thought that was our best to date, but we still got to work on it. I'm expecting my 2nd grandbaby. Y'all pray for my daughter. She's in labor right now, so I'm expecting that. Yep, thank you.
Well, hidden gem at the end from Hugh Freeze there. 2nd grandbaby on the way. Daughter's in labor. Going to be a Thanksgiving bundle of joy right before Thanksgiving comes in for the Auburn coach, Hugh Freeze there, who's got his team hot and trending up, bowl eligible now after the win this past weekend on the road in Arkansas. And a lot of people are watching Fayetteville to see if that's the 3rd coach that gets his walking papers in the SEC. We'll see if Sam Pittman has enough goodwill built up to survive what was a beatdown by that Auburn football team. New Mexico State this weekend, and if you did not hear, as we announced to start off the overtime, Alabama, Auburn, Iron Bowl, Jordan-Hare Stadium, 2:30 officially now on CBS, 2:30 on CBS. All right, thanks to Roback.com, promo code TNR20. That gets you, my friend, 20% off your first order there with our friends at Roback. We appreciate them bringing us the overtime. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. So long, everybody.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar.